Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Live from New York City this morning. Good morning, good morning. Your equity market going absolutely nowhere on the S&P 500. The countdown to the open starts right now.
Everything you need to get set for the start of U.S. trading. This is Bloomberg, The Open with Jonathan Farrow.
Live from New York, we begin with a big issue. Economic warnings piling up.
There's another shoe that has to drop, and that is the economy. It's resilient today still, with the exception of housing, but we think the Fed is going to have to push demand lower to get that wage inflation down, and they're not likely to ease next year.
Here's another one.
About bear markets that are punctuated by either economic or earnings recession. We think we're going to get at least one of those. Could it get pushed out further into the middle of next year? Yes. Do we think we can avoid it? No.
And another one.
I do worry about as we get into 2023 and we start to see employment go to very low levels, zero or negative, then you will see a slowdown in consumer spending that then becomes a contraction. It's going to be a rough 2023. And I think that's what the moral of the story is.
Neil Dutta of Renaissance Macro says what slowed down, writing the following. While inflation is moderating somewhat, real economic activity is accelerating. The widening gap between actual economic conditions and expectations may prompt an abrupt and potentially disruptive period. So is the US economy picking up or slowing down? Joining us now is Jim Bianco of Bianco Research and Megan Green of the Kroll Institute, who wrote in the FT this past week, quote, "It may be the most anticipated recession in history. Economists have been forecasting contraction for the US economy since at least April. But a bit like Godot, it has yet to show up. Credit the cash cushion American consumers and corporations built during the pandemic, but that will eventually disappear and then the economy will nosedive." Megan, let's start with you then. Which one is it? Are we slowing down or picking up?
We're slowing down. There's no question about it, but we're not in a recession yet, and that's what I meant when I said it's the most anticipated recession. It's just not here yet, and I do think it is because consumers and businesses are still spending, and why wouldn't they be? Excess savings, is around 1.5 trillion among consumers. That's down pretty significantly from the pandemic high of 2.3 trillion, but it's come down, and it's coming down rapidly, but it's still pretty high. And moreover, the labor market's really strong. So until we see the labor market really deteriorate, people are going to keep spending whatever their bank balances are showing. There's some signs of stress. Credit card balances have jumped 15% in the third quarter. That's the biggest jump we've seen in 20 years. But that being said, it's from really low levels. Businesses are also seeing delinquencies rise, but again, from incredibly low levels. So I think this cash cushion means we can ride out the first half of next year without a recession. But then I think we're going to see the economy dip.
Jim Bianco, what's your take on this big debate right now?
It is, as Megan said, it's probably the most anticipated recession that we've ever seen. The survey, the Philly Fed does a survey of professional forecasters, and it's a 50-year high in the number of people expecting a recession. Also, unemployment is supposed to soar next year. Stock strategists are negative, the most negative in the 25 years of the Bloomberg history. And if you look at their earnings forecasts, they're the worst after inflation in 40 years of data. Not after 9/11, not after the tech bubble, not after the Great Recession did we see people this bearish. It's all about the rise in rates and them thinking that they've overdone it. And the problem is, normally on Wall Street, you get fired for being this bearish, but why isn't anybody getting fired? Because in 2023, it's all about cheap money and it's all about liquidity. And the hope is the economy turns down, then the Fed pivots and cuts rates, and then the markets respond positively. So this is the new bull call for 2023. Say that everything's going to fall apart, and then Jay Powell's got to pivot, and then the markets will rally. The bear story is kind of what Megan said. Nothing bad happens. And then the Fed raises rates, and they raise rates a little bit more, and then they hold it throughout 2023.
Jim, listen to what we're saying. The hope is that the economy slows down. Isn't that just bizarre that we're saying that out loud?
It is bizarre. This is the upside down world we are. 15 years of quantitative easing, zero interest rates, negative interest rates, forward guidance has got the market to become like a liquidity junkie. It only wants cheap money. It only wants low rates, and that's all it responds to. Look at how it responds to the CPI report and Fed speeches. It doesn't respond to anything like that in corporate America.
Megan, is it bad that payroll surprised to the upside, that wage growth comes in hotter than expected? Is it bad that the ISM services indicator yesterday was better than expected? Is that bad news?
Yeah, particularly the wage growth figure, even though wages are growing more slowly than prices, so people's standards of living are deteriorating. But all the data that you've aggregated there for us, John, suggests that the Fed's going to have to hike even more. Markets have repriced hikes, so now it's consensus to say that the Fed will have to get rates above 5%, which will just cause a deeper downturn. And so I do think overall that's pretty bad news. The Fed is worried about inflation. They're going to do whatever they need to do to bring it down, I think. But I think that does mean raising rates above 5% and then holding there. There is a bear scenario, though, where we have a short and shallow recession, which is what I'm expecting, but then you end up with a financial crisis on top of it. And I think since Jim brought up liquidity, it's worth pointing out that there isn't much of it. Even the U.S. Treasury market is highly stressed now. And so as the Fed is hiking rates and shrinking its balance sheet, as investors are noting that they're taking losses in bonds and equities at the same time, so they're moving into cash, liquidity is being withdrawn. And I think we're going to get a bunch of market blowups over the course of the next year off the back of that. I think the Fed can probably handle those blowups. But if it can't, and we get a financial crisis on top of a short and shallow recession, it would turn it into a much deeper recession.
Megan, when you talk of blow-ups, what do they look like? Where do you expect to find them?
I think they look, excuse me, a lot like the UK LDI blow-up that we saw this fall, where you've got pockets of illiquidity that the central bank has to step in to paper over. Where are we going to find them? Probably not in the banking sector, since, after the global financial crisis, our banks are better regulated, have higher capital ratios. We'll see them in shadow banking, which is bad news because we have very little visibility on what's happening under the hood in shadow banking. One area I'm worried about is corporate debt in the U.S. It's a big market, and about a third of our corporate debt is BBB rated, so the bottom rung for investment grade. If you get a bunch of downgrades, you may end up having forced sellings by bond funds, which could turn into kind of an LDI-style doom loop that the Fed has to paper over, and the Fed isn't going to want to buy junk bonds, so that will be challenging. The U.S. Treasury market could be a problem, particularly next year as we go into a showdown over the debt ceiling. So there are a lot of possibilities in terms of where these blowups could happen, but I think they're going to happen across the developed world in 2023.
Jim, do you share that view too?
Yeah, I do. I share the view that their liquidity is poor and the markets are very stressed, and that's one of the arguments I hear all the time, that the Fed's got to pivot because of that situation. And I do worry that there's going to be a problem. The only thing I would add to what Megan said is that the bond market is too big, it's too complicated, and it's too opaque for me or anybody else or Jamie Dimon or anybody in between to basically say, there's where it's going to be. But when a market is this stressed and liquidity is this poor, it doesn't take much to create a crisis. And so, yes, it wouldn't surprise me if we did see one in 2023.
So are we being too cute for next year? and the runway, the glide path through 2023. You guys are familiar with the consensus. Here's another one this morning, this time from UniCredit, and this is not a dig at UniCredit. We've heard this from pretty much every bank on the street. Here's the quote. Ongoing sharp monetary tightening and an upcoming recession pose significant downside risks. They're talking about Europe. Could apply to the US. However, evidence of slowing core inflation, peaking official rates and signs of economic recovery should pave the way for more risk-taking in the second half of 23. Megan, can you weigh in on this? Are we being too cute about the glide path for 2023?
Yeah, I don't think UniCredit's quote applies to the U.S. because the U.S. is going to go into recession much later than Europe is. So, I don't think that that second half of 2023, as we're going into recession, is a time to take on risk in the U.S. I think that would be a bad call. Are we being cute, though? I assume you mean, are we being too sanguine about how this will go? I don't think so. I think that the Fed is serious about leaning against inflation, but is also trying its hardest not to prompt a recession. I don't think they'll succeed, unfortunately, but I do think that the Fed's going to pause at some point in the first half of next year, and will hold rates high for a while before pivoting. That does mean that they're unlikely to just keep ratcheting rates up forever, and that's been digested by the markets. The markets understand that. So I think that we can expect a short and shallow recession. One thing, though, we haven't seen is a deterioration in the labor market. A tick up in unemployment is the best indicator of a recession, but that doesn't tend to happen until after the Fed has already reached its peak rate. And so I think we're going to have to wait to see that. And that, of course, is also when consumers will stop spending and we'll really go into a downturn.
When I say too cute, Megan, I'm just thinking we're being way too specific about the absolute unknown in 2023. Jim Bianco, you mentioned the outlook on the S&P 500. The average forecast in our survey on the S&P year-end 23, 4,009 on the S&P 500. At the close yesterday, 3998.84. So basically 4K. So Jim Bianco, the consensus view on the street right now, and I get the range of estimates is still pretty wide, but Jim, from where we are, the consensus view looks like this. We're at 4K right now on the S&P. We'll end year-end 23 at 4K. You're going to get this downdraft in the economy in the first half, bad earnings, a bad equity market. Then in the second half, you're going to price in a Fed that backs away in a better economy, and this equity market's going to rip into year-end. Jim, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, that is what everybody is hoping for. And you're right that the spread or the dispersion between all those forecasts is about as wide as we've ever seen. It's like 30% between the highest and the lowest forecast. But I do think that they are being a little bit too cute, because this whole idea about that we're going to have some kind of a soft landing, that we're going to print like minus 0.1 for a couple of quarters on GDP. By the way, we did that last year in the first and second, or this year, excuse me, in the first and second quarter. And then we were going to see the Fed pivot and everything take off. Typically, it doesn't work that way. That when the economy gets the momentum on the downside, it gets the momentum on the downside and it keeps going. When the unemployment rate goes up, and it goes up enough, it keeps going more than just a couple of tenths. It goes up 1, 2, 3%. And that's why I understand what you're saying, and I agree that we are being a little bit too cute. We're kind of having this path with a couple of turns along the way, when we should just be saying, look, if it's going south, it's going south. Or if it's not going to go south, it's not going to go south. But this whole idea that we're going to go south for a while, and then we're going to turn north again. Yeah. And therefore, you let the wait until June and just start buying the market like crazy. It's all about the Fed. They all need the Fed to pivot, because it's all about cheap money.
And by pivot, we mean cuts. So let's go there. Just a quick yes or no. Jim, have you got the Fed cutting rates in 23, yes or no?
No, I do not.
Megan? Megan, where are you on the Fed next year? Are they cutting in 23?
No, I don't think so. I think they're getting rates above 5% and will stick there throughout the rest of the year.
That's going to be tough for a lot of people. That really is, if that's what transpires. Megan Green's going to stick with us alongside Jim Bianco. Equity futures right now unchanged on the S&P 500. Coming up, is it the beginning of the end for the talent war on Wall Street?
The talent war is I think there's some headwinds given we're changing economic conditions. but the competition for talent is still very, very strong. Now, how that evolves in 2023 is unknown. Certainly, if we have a slower economic environment, it will have an effect.
That conversation up next.
It shouldn't be surprising to people watching the performance of the business this year that 2021 was an exceptional year. It was a record year for the firm. It was the highest revenue year ever for the firm. 2022 is a different year, and so naturally, compensation will be lower.
That was the Goldman CEO, David Solomon, in the last hour. Elsewhere, the biggest banks on Wall Street might be about to send a message to their bankers. Prepare for smaller bonuses. Bloomberg reporting in the past week that JP Morgan, Bank of America and Citi are all weighing plans to cut bonus pools for their investment bankers by as much as 30%. Some firms are planning to give low performers no reward at all. The proposals are still under discussion and could change in the coming weeks. Joining us now is Bloomberg's Sonali Basak from the Goldman Financial Services Conference. Fantastic conversation, Sonali. Just walk us through what you've learned from David Solomon in the last 60 minutes or so.
Listen, his view has not changed very meaningfully on the economic outlook here, but he did say slowing down economic activity. You have to be cautious with sizing in that kind of environment. They're constrained activity levels, and that's what you have to prepare for as a CEO of a major bank. Now, listen, why is this important, John? On background, I've had multiple firms now tell me that Goldman might set the standard. It often does, but it might set the standard here on Wall Street on just how far those cuts can go. Interestingly, also here, and remember, Goldman is today speaking from a moment of strength. Their stock is down less than all of their biggest rivals here when you look at year-to-date performance. And so when you look at him planning for a year like next year and saying that they are still considering further cost cuts or further cautiousness with sizing, it is interesting to hear him say that they are still preparing for more pain ahead.
What were your thoughts on his views on 2023? Is that a man speaking with conviction or just absolute uncertainty about what's about to come around the corner?
It's preparation, right? Because no matter how bad it gets, you need to make sure that the firm is ready to be profitable in that kind of an environment. Remember, in just a little while here, we'll also be speaking to Brian Moynihan, whose firm has not really announced the same level of cuts or downsizing or even reductions in the investment banking businesses. Again, remember, Goldman, not only is their stock doing better at investment banking, if you look at the market share gains that they've had, they're up 7 to 9 percentage points more on mergers and acquisitions league tables than any one of their rivals. So for him to be that prepared for a year ahead when this year ended up not being so bad, it's a really interesting thing to hear them say that we're going to prepare for the worst and take it from there.
Sonali, wonderful work as always, and looking forward to your conversation with Mr. Moynihan a little bit later. Sonali, thank you. To Sonali's point, of course, not all banks on Wall Street created equally, but look at the performance year to date. Goldman down just, let's call it 3%. Bank of America down more than 22%. Morgan Stanley down about 8.5%. Citi down by 24%. JP Morgan down by a little more than 17%. We'll catch up with Sonali again a little bit later. I want to talk about these layoffs. We've discussed briefly maybe the end of the talent war on Wall Street. It's not just Wall Street, and it's not just tech that is facing maybe a little bit of difficulty. This from the Wall Street Journal reporting the following in the last 24 hours. PepsiCo is laying off workers at the headquarters of its North American snacks and beverages divisions. Hundreds of jobs will be eliminated. Back with us, Jim Bianco, Megan Green. Megan, I'd love your thought on this. To what extent is this labour market rebalancing in America? How far along are we?
Unfortunately, I think we have a ways to go in terms of rebalancing. I spend a lot of time presenting to and talking to CFOs of corporates, mostly non-financial corporates, and the number one complaint they have is that they just can't find talent. And they can't find talent globally either, which suggests that even if you have some layoffs in the US, that's not going to address the imbalances in the labor market where you just can't find the skills that you need for certain jobs. The low-wage, low-hour services jobs might balance a little bit better, but overall, I think we have a skills mismatch in the U.S. economy that's going to be severe for a while. The labor market will have to deteriorate much more before we see that addressed.
Jim Bianco, your take on this?
Yeah, I agree with Megan that the labor market, the problem with the labor market for Wall Street is that it's not falling apart. Last week, we got the November payroll report. It was the 8th time in a row that we've beaten the consensus. That's the longest streak that we've seen since we started measuring the consensus in the mid-1990s. The JOLTS report says that there's 10 million open jobs for 6 million unemployed workers. I know we focus a lot on layoffs because those are headline grabbing and those are very gut wrenching and emotional. But the fact of the matter is that most employers seem to be trying to hoard labor or at least trying to hire more than people are laying off. Now, of course, the other thing about the layoffs is that they tend to be, at least the headlines are more focused in tech. I understand PepsiCo and some other companies are also doing it, and that grabs a lot of headlines as well. So overall, no, the labor market is not showing any signs of deterioration, at least not yet.
Jim, you've picked up on the right theme, I think. It's a phrase we've used a few times on this program. It's not mine. I wish I remember where I got it from. But you can't fire what you couldn't hire. Jim, and I just wonder from your perspective how different the character of a potential downturn would be with that in mind.
Yeah, I think that at least before we start to see, widespread sell-offs or, layoffs in the labor market, we'd have to see the JOLTS report at least show that we're not still looking for 10 million openings. We still don't have 10 million openings while we're trying to lay people off. That number will have to at least come down quite a bit. Once all the openings go away, then you could start talking about the labor market deteriorating. But that's not going to happen in 1 or 2 months at the number of openings that we have. And you're right. Most people are afraid to get rid of workers because they're afraid that if the economy turns higher, they're not going to be able to get them back.
Megan, what's your take on that one?
Yeah, so I think Jim is right to highlight labor hoarding. I think there is some degree of that going on, and we don't really have a good handle on how much. It was so hard to find people to hire before that even in the face of a downturn, companies are hanging on to them because they don't want to lay them off and then have to go through that process all over again. But the narrative that Jim is telling is the one that the Fed is peddling, that, we won't see a deterioration in the labor market, or we needn't see one because we can just go ahead, hike rates, tighten policy, lean against demand, and that will whittle down the job openings. As you well know, Larry Summers and Olivier Blanchard have looked at the data, and their line is that that's a great theory. It's just literally never happened in real life. And so I don't think we're going to see all these openings disappear, and maybe that could be a huge buffer for the labor market. I do think we're going to see more openings disappear, but unemployment is going to start ticking up before those job openings are really gone.
Megan, what kind of number do you think we have to prepare for? How high do you think unemployment could potentially go through next year?
Yeah, so I think unemployment will probably have to go above 5%, which is a pretty big increase from where we are now. We're at 3.7% now, and in percentage points, that's not much. In terms of, the impact on actual people, that's really significant. So I think we are going to see a pretty significant deterioration of the labor market. It's just going to take a while. Again, because, there's so much cash in the economy. If companies are sitting on this big cash cushion, they're going to need to burn through it before they really feel like they're going to let people go, again, because of labor hoarding as well.
Megan, this was brilliant, as always. The fantastic Megan Green alongside the brilliant Jim Bianco. To the two of you, thank you. Equities right now still unchanged on the S&P 500. Coming up on the programme, why the airline industry is set to achieve its first post-pandemic profit next year. And on the bond market, Eric Nelson of Wells Fargo says 10-year yields are, quote, simply too low. That conversation still ahead. 5 minutes away from the opening bound. Bit of a snooze this Tuesday morning. I've got to admit, equities totally unchanged on the S&P and on the Nasdaq. That's the price action. Here's 3 morning calls for you. First up, Oppenheimer upgrading GE to outperform, highlighting the company's strengthening aviation business. Your second call from Morgan Stanley, upgrading JP Morgan to overweight from underweight, saying the lender is typically more resilient than its peers during downturns. And finally, Deutsche Bank downgrading General Mills to hold, $88 price target, seeing a more balanced risk reward following the stock's recent performance. That stock is down just 0.7%. Coming up, the airline industry expecting a return to profitability next year. Plus, Eric Nelson of Wells Fargo discussing why he thinks 10-year yields are simply too low. That conversation with the opening bell up next. 24 seconds away from the opening bound this morning. Good morning. Yesterday, biggest one-day loss on the S&P 500 in about a month. The data coming in hot. Friday it was payrolls. Yesterday it was the ISM services indicator. This morning equities just about unchanged. If you're looking at futures, we're down 0.1% on the S&P. On the Nasdaq, we're down not even 1/10. There's the opening bound. Switch at the board and get to the bond market. The last 24 hours, 2s versus 10s, negative 80-something basis points. We'll get to that in a moment. Your 10-year this morning, 357.16 on a US 10-year. In the FX market, euro-dollar had a little look at 106 in yesterday's session, got close, then backed away. Dollar strength off the back of that ISM read. Euro-dollar this morning up by a little more than 0.1%, 105.04. And crude down 0.8%, $76.33. Despite more signs that China is inching away from COVID zero. I want to be very specific about what China is doing at the moment before we jump to conclusions about a wholesale shift from COVID zero. This week has been incremental, just small steps away from testing requirements. Started in Shanghai at the start of the week. This morning, the latest, Beijing to back away from some of those testing requirements. A story we'll stay on top of for you. About a minute into the session, equities lined up as follows on the S&P 500, down not even 1/10 on the Nasdaq. Totally unchanged. One stock to watch at the open, PepsiCo. The Wall Street Journal reporting that the company is planning to cut hundreds of workers from its North American snacks and beverage divisions. That stock is up by about 0.5%. Abby has more. Morning, Abby.
Morning, John. And well, this is a real sign of the times. We now have mass layoffs stretching beyond media and technology, as you, Jim Bianco, and Megan Green were just talking about these hundreds of layoffs at the corporate level for PepsiCo. So let's go into the details just a little bit more. And it's also a sign of the times that the stock is up. This is one stock that's up on the year more than 5%. Investors cheering this move a little bit today. Cost cutting, profit margin maintaining move. The memo said that layoffs are meant to simplify the organization so we can operate more efficiently. It really targets the headquarters for beverages and snacks, basically 3 areas: Purchase, New York, Chicago, and Plano, Texas. For a company that has 309,000 employees worldwide, we can probably presume that these employees are those with much higher salaries. Now, relative to why they're making these layoffs, they did put up a good third quarter. Revenues grew strongly, but it wasn't because of volume growth. It was because of passing along price increases to the consumer. In fact, this year, John, there's basically a 10% or greater spread for that fourth quarter, more than 17% spread between what the volume growth was and the prices that the revenue that they brought in, really suggesting that consumers are paying for it all. Another piece of the proof of that, their net income has been preserved. The low water mark right now over the last several quarters, 4% back in fourth quarter of last year. But right now, 7% they're looking at for this upcoming couple of quarters into 2023. So it seems very clear, and they made this clear on the third quarter call, that they're willing to defend their profits at any cost by passing along costs and, again, making these layoffs. It seems that many, many companies are doing this in certain times, John.
Abby, thank you. I think we're all asking, who's next? Just these very small cracks appearing, and I think when it comes to PepsiCo, that's a very, very small crack. Could things get better for one particular sector? The airlines, facing mixed fortunes in 22, could be about to see their first post-pandemic profit next year. The International Air Transport Association saying the following: as we look to 23, the financial recovery will take shape with a first industry profit since 2019. That is a great achievement considering the scale of the financial and economic damage caused by government-imposed pandemic restrictions. Morgan Stanley expressing their own optimism, saying 2023 could be a Goldilocks year for air travel. Katie Lyons has more. Hey, Kaylee.
Yeah, John, next year may be shaping up to be a great year for the airlines. $4.7 billion in net income is what IATA is estimating here. And yes, that is less than a fifth of the profit level seen in 2019, but still it is a profit, as you say, would be the first post-pandemic. And that's a really welcome development after the industry collectively has lost close to $190 billion over the last several years of disruption. That said, it's not going to be a consistent picture everywhere. Asia is still expected to suffer a $6.6 billion deficit, even assuming that China begins to reopen to international traffic in the second half. On the more positive side, though, IATA expects that North American carriers will rack up about $11.4 billion in earnings. And as you said, that positivity reflected on the sell side as well. Morgan Stanley talking about Goldilocks after what it called years of the market being too hot or too cold. And we know that to get through those cold times, airlines had to borrow a lot of money, their debt burden soaring during COVID. The long-term debt among the 5 largest carriers rose from $58.7 billion to $120.8 billion since the end of 2019. That is up 105%. And of course, we know what's happened to interest rates over the course of the last several years. So the point is the airlines really could use more money to pay down that debt. And travelers look like they're helping make that happen. If you look at the TSA passenger count levels, they are back up to near pre-pandemic levels. On average right now, about 2.2 million per day. So the skies are getting more crowded, and that seems to be a good thing for this sector, John.
Katie, just to be clear, Goldilocks for them and not for us.
Correct, because we're probably still going to be paying a lot for tickets.
I can't wait for the next 12 months to do that all over again. Katie Lyons, thank you very much. Broader equity market 5 minutes into the session looks like this. Unchanged on the S&P, slightly softer, negative lower, down about 0.25% on the Nasdaq. To the bond market, the headline yesterday, you saw it, 2s versus 10s, negative more than 80 basis points on the yield curve. And you see that this morning, 2s versus 10s, negative 81. Your 2-year at the moment, let's call it 439 on a 2-year. Your 10-year about 357. Eric Nelson of Wells Fargo says the US 10-year yield is simply too low. Says the following: real yields need to be higher for the Fed's policy to be sufficiently restrictive to bring down inflation. The 10-year nominal yield should trade up to 425 to 475 through early 2023. Eric joins us right now. Now, Eric, I've got to go straight there. 475. We haven't even seen that this year, and we just about saw it on a 2-year. Why are we going to get 475 on a 10-year anytime soon?
Well, John, it helps to do a bit of a gut check as to what this environment looks like versus the environment of 2018, when 10-year yields were just 25 basis points lower than they are now. You have central banks everywhere tightening very aggressively. Yes, they've slowed the pace a little bit, but the level of yields and rates in these central banks is so much higher than it was back in that period. Inflation compensation is simply too low. We look for some risk to the upside there. And you also have central banks reducing balance sheets, doing quantitative tightening nearly everywhere in 2023. It's a very different environment than 2018. So both on the real yield side and on the inflation compensation side, we look for significant upside in yields heading into next year. We think 4% will be more of a floor than a ceiling for the 10-year yield.
So let's breathe some life into this conversation and start at the very, very front end, Eric, and then we can push that out to the 10-year. Eric, where is Fed funds in that world next year? Just how much upside do you think there is?
Well, our call, John, is for the Fed to raise rates to 5.25, starting in the early part of next year. So 50, 50, 25 at the next 3 meetings, and holding rates there for the entirety of 2023. So we have no rate cuts in the forecast for 2023. The labor market is stubbornly strong, as you discussed with your last guest. We certainly saw that in the earnings number last week and continued strength in payrolls. So the Fed's going to have to keep policy uncomfortably tight for an extended period. And to us, that means there's still a lot more room for upside, both in the front end and the back end, but probably more so in the back end heading into next year.
Eric, can you explain the back end? So as we start with the 2-year, I get it. If you think Fed funds gets to 5.25 and has to stay there, the 2-year's got some work to do. I think we're on board with just the logic of that. Push that out through the 10-year. Why does that lead to higher 10-year yields and not lower yields in anticipation of the economy ultimately rolling over?
This is a different regime, John, than we've seen in the past. It's very possible that the Fed does cut rates, maybe not necessarily next year, but in 2024 and beyond. But the odds they cut rates back to zero is very low. So the floor for rates, let's say 3, 4, 5 years out, is much higher than it would have been in past cycles. And that really comes back to this idea of continued supply shocks, stubbornly high structural inflation. So we see it both in terms of the actual level of policy rates further out the curve in real terms, but also in terms of inflation compensation. That's still, from our perspective, just too low, given the inflation risks are still skewed to the upside over the next 5 to 10 years.
So are you looking for dollar strength to kick back in?
Absolutely, John. I personally would not want to be one selling the U.S. dollar aggressively into a global recession. To me, that doesn't seem like the right trade, despite valuation being at 40, 50-year highs.
So what do you want to buy the U.S. dollar against?
Well, probably the British pound and certainly some of the commodity currencies heading into next year. Yes, commodities could stay stubbornly high, but the debt and housing risks in some of these economies is just too substantial to ignore.
Can you get the euro call in the mix as well? On Europe, you say, quote, the energy crisis remains seriously underpriced. Eric, underpriced this year or underpriced going into next winter?
I'd say really just into the next 3 to 6 months or so. We've certainly been on the wrong side of this call, I'll admit, the past few weeks. I think China's reopening has caught us a little bit off guard as being a driver of dollar weakness, but we do think dollar strength will reassert itself and we'll be back trading near parity within the next 3 months.
Well, Eric, you're not alone. A lot of people have been caught offside there. And the difficulty with 2022 is not just making a dollar call, it's calling the other side of the currency pair. Because sterling was about this policy issue in the UK, Europe was about the energy crisis, China was about COVID zero, Bank of Japan had its head in the sand, so we had this yen-specific issue as well. Eric, your call on that stronger dollar, how does the China reopening story line up against that?
Well, it's a question of how much legs and how much impact it has on global growth. Our concern is that there's some short covering to happen here and some short-term cyclical dynamic that's happening in China. The question is, how much is that going to feed through and continue into 2023? You still have a very significant overhang of debt in the property sector in China, and I'm not sure that the little fiscal stimulus we've had from China will be enough to propel a really significant boost in Chinese growth heading into next year.
And will we see a stop-start reopening effort like we did in the West over the last couple of years? Eric, it's going to be fascinating the next 12 months. Appreciate your calls, buddy. We'll catch up soon. Euro dollar right now, 105. They're looking for the dollar trade to reload, more dollar strength, looking for treasury yields to kick higher. A 2-year to do a lot more work, a 10-year with a floor of 4%, did he say? We're going to talk about these calls through the week. Coming up on this programme, Apple's Tim Cook joining President Biden to promote US manufacturing.
Inside that iPhone, but also importantly inside military applications, inside our most advanced computing applications, are these leading-edge semiconductors. TSMC's announcement today signals the beginning of building out that American supply chain.
More on that announcement next.
This is Bloomberg's The Open. I'm Lisa Mateo, live in the principal room. Coming up, Seth Bernstein, President and CEO of Alliance Bernstein. That conversation, 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. in London. This is Bloomberg.
Making these chips in America is going to help lower the cost for families looking to buy a car, to replace your washing machine, get a new cell phone. It also helps companies outcompete the rest of the world. And I've heard from Xi Jinping that he's a little concerned about that.
That was the President of the United States back in October. That big effort picking up today. The Apple CEO, Tim Cook, and AMD's Lisa Su, alongside President Biden in Arizona for an event at Taiwan Semi. The chip maker unveiling its new $40 billion manufacturing plan, one of the largest foreign investments in U.S. history.
Today, is a big milestone for the country for economic and national security reasons. Inside that iPhone, but also importantly inside military applications, inside our most advanced computing applications, are these leading edge semiconductors. And today, we produce none of them in the United States. TSMC's announcement today signals the beginning of building out that American supply chain.
Team coverage begins right now with Bloomberg's AMH down in DC at Ludlow on the West Coast. AMH, first to you, just how significant is this event today?
Well, Jonathan, it's a huge deal for the Biden administration. They've tried effortlessly, constantly over the course of the year to get this CHIPS Act passed. TSMC would be a huge component of this, and also the fact that they have constantly talked about two things they really wanted to shore up when it comes to competition with China. One is the economy, bringing jobs back to the United States, making sure manufacturing is in the United States. So there's an economic play to this. They do not want to see a repeat of what we saw over the past 2 years, which is these kinks in the supply chain. And then the second, of course, is national security. China obviously growing more aggressive over Taiwan. That's where all the chips are. And the fact that you will hear from officials time and time again that China invests billions when it comes to semiconductors and manufacturing, and the United States barely invests anything. So it's a huge moment for the administration. And then there's a little bit of politics, of course, because it's in Arizona, a state that the president carried that helped to make it to the White House, and one that, Jonathan, he will certainly need in 2024, which Ron Klain last night kind of teed up for the president.
I'm going to come back to you on that in just a moment. Sit tight. The politics of this, Ed. Let's pause on that. Tim Cook, navigating D.C. like nobody else in corporate America. Ed, how many people went and did tours like this with a former president and get to do them with the current president too?
Yeah, fewer. I mean, this is a classic Tim Cook playbook, though. We've reported a lot about what he wants to achieve in D.C. He, visits the center of power at any given moment. This event in Arizona and the eventual output that comes from the TSMC plants is not a cure-all for Apple, right? The production issues they're having to China don't relate to semiconductors. The size and scope is also really important. Apple was pushing for this. They want chips that are made in Arizona. But the combined output of two plants across the $40 billion investment is about 600,000 wafers annually by 2026 or from 2026 onwards. For context, that's about 4% of TSMC's global output. So while this is a big move for onshoring the supply chain, it is minuscule, frankly, compared to the output that TSMC has out there. I think what the sell side's latching onto is that this does go some way to de-risking the supply chain, particularly for names like Apple. In Apple, actually, things are improving, John. I think the stock's down about half a percentage point. The good news coming out overnight is that the rate of production seems to be improving, wait times decreasing, and this brings a smile, John, at this time of year. UBS analyst David Voigt writing, if the rate of improvement continues in the US, it will be possible for consumers to receive a brand new iPhone 14 Pro or Pro Max in time for Christmas. But again, those issues in China are not solved by what's happening in Arizona today, although it is something that Apple's pushed for.
Just a little bit of personal bias here, Ed. You sound like someone waiting for a phone. I just want to squeeze this in. Build on the onshoring theme of this. The Journal in the last couple of days reporting that Apple has, quote, accelerated plans to shift some of its production outside China. Can you just put all these little steps together for this company?
Yeah, they're de-risking long-term across the map. 80% of this Pro output is done in Zhengzhou, iPhone City. We know that Apple was looking at India and Vietnam. What we're hearing and what the Journal reported, we've now reported as well, is that Apple's going to its suppliers and saying, hurry up, speed up the process of how we can produce these products, iPhone, iPad, away from China, so that in the future, if something else like COVID happens again, which none of us want, then they have the ability to be less impacted on the production side.
Final word goes to AMH. It often does. Anne-Marie, you wanted to go there, so let's go there. The White House Chief of Staff, Ron Klain. Here's the quote from him. The president will make that decision. I expect it shortly after the holiday. I expect the decision will be to do it. Walk us through the decision for 2024.
Well, I think Ron Klain basically just said it without exactly saying it. I don't know how much more direct you can make it, but the president clearly was with his family in Nantucket for Thanksgiving. He's going to be with them in Christmas. He talks about a lot of this in the past, how this is a family decision, especially his wife, the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden. And this is about whether or not he's going to run for 2024. But Ron Klain basically said he is, and you can expect that decision after the holidays and the new year. John, this really all comes down to, of course, he wanted to be potentially a transitional leader of the party. But right now you have the former president already saying he's going to be running. That's Donald Trump for the Republican ticket. And Biden really believes that he's the individual in his party who could beat him. He has proven he was, and also the midterm elections really bode well for Biden's favor, even though there's lots of whispers, obviously, about the fact that he is the oldest U.S. president we've had in history, and he recently turned 80.
Anne-Marie, great work as always. AMH down in Washington, Ed Ludlow on the West Coast. Much more from Ed throughout the day. A little bit later, in about an hour or so from now, Sonali Bagsak's going to catch up with the Bank of America CEO, Brian Moynihan. He was just speaking at a Goldman conference, and he said the following. Just a little bit of colour on where he thinks the consumer is and where it's heading, and a bit of colour on the bank as well. So let me share some of that with you. He said this on the consumer. They're still spending more now than a year ago, but the rate of growth in spending is starting to slow. Deposit balances are starting to come down. We heard that from Megan Green a little bit earlier on this morning. This is what he had to say about the bank. We're taking out expenses and reshaping the headcount. I imagine Sonali's going to push him on that a little bit later. So Brian Moynihan, the Bank of America CEO, coming up with Sonali Basak, 10:45 Eastern Time. We'll carry that right here on Bloomberg TV. Want to get you some sector price action on this equity market about 21 minutes into the session. Here's Abby.
Well, John, we are looking at a fourth down day in a row for the S&P 500, the longest losing streak in more than a month. Right now, that S&P 500 down about 0.4%, but we have about an equal amount, just slightly tilted to the downside because, of course, there's 11 sectors, but it's defense on top. Utilities are there, real estate, staples, plus materials, not small or relatively small gains. To the downside, dragging the most, tech, discretionary, and services. Those are, of course, the mega cap tech sectors. Let's dive in on the banks, though, given some of the comments that are coming out. So right now, with yields down overall, we have the KBW Bank Index down 1%. JP Morgan, though, is the one bank that is trading higher at this point. And this, of course, has to do with that double upgrade that you were talking about earlier over at Morgan Stanley. So an outlier, the rest of the banking sector is down at this point with yields, John.
It's a snoozy morning so far, Abby. Thank you. This time next week, it won't be. We're a week away from CPI in America. Do you want a sneak peek at the estimates so far in our survey? I'll bring them to you. Month over month, so this is headline month on month. We're looking for 0.3%. That would be a drop down, just a step down from 0.4% in the previous month. Core month on month, 0.3%. In line with the previous month of 0.3. If you like the headline year-over-year numbers, we're looking for that number to come down from 7.7%. In our survey, the median estimate is 7.3 for core from 6.3, looking for a move down to 6.1. CPI a week away. Then the Federal Reserve decision a week tomorrow. Coming up, I'll bring you the trading diary live from New York. This is Bloomberg. 4-day losing streak on the S&P, longest losing streak since the start of November on the S&P 500. Over that period, not a monster move, down about 2.4%. Right now, getting at about a 0.5% move lower on the Nasdaq. We're down about 0.8%. That's the equity story. Here's the bond market price action. 2s, 10s and 30s look like this. Just briefly, your 2-year, 10-year going nowhere really. 2-year down a basis point, 437.47. Let's get you the trading diary just briefly. Coming up, the Senate runoff election underway in Georgia. President Biden, Tim Cook of Apple, promoting chip manufacturing in the U.S. at 4 Eastern. Look out for that. Look out for this. China's President Xi in Riyadh for a summit with Saudi leaders on Wednesday. Another round of claims coming up on Thursday. And finally, U.S. PPI and the UMich Consumer Sentiment Survey to close out the week on Friday. From New York City, that closes things out for me. Have a fantastic day ahead of you. Good luck for the trading day from New York City. This was the countdown to the open. This is Bloomberg.
Audio Jungle.
You already know Jared is the place to find that perfect piece of stunning jewelry. But Jared is also the perfect place to service and repair your existing jewelry. With highly skilled bench jewelers in our stores, we offer on-site repair services for your jewelry 6 days a week, whether you bought it from us or not. From chain repairs to ring sizing, or reimagining a piece you no longer wear into something you'll love again. You dream it, we'll create it. Visit Jared today and see what we can do for you. Jared, love brilliantly. Jared is the place to find that perfect piece of stunning jewelry. But it's also the perfect place to service and repair your existing jewelry. We offer on-site repair services for your jewelry, whether you bought it from us or not. Visit Jared today and see what we can do for you.
Welcome to Honestly Though, a podcast where you get a peek into what it's like to eavesdrop on conversations in the girls' bathroom.
We're challenging social norms through real, raw, and risque discussions.
So honestly though,
enjoy the episode.
Hey Honesties, welcome back to another episode. I'm your girl Zena.
I'm Symphony. And we got a special guest today, y'all.
In the building.
I am the Yoshi Rose, lifestyle content creator on Instagram, if you guys want to check me out.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. And before you do anything else, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Why am I talking like this? Press that button, if you like what you see. Today and every other day.
Yes, do that. Notification bell, all that.
Ding. Ooh. Also, we are removing our episodes to being released on Wednesdays. We did the little Friday thing. We tried different days of the week, but hump days just work.
Hump day?
You're right in the middle of the week. Give you something to distress. So yeah. Moving forward, every episode will be released on Wednesdays. But today we're going to read The Room. And if we're reading correctly, Bree is not here because she's not feeling well.
Yeah. Feel better, Bree.
We miss you.
This show
I
must
miss you
go on. Sorry. One word to describe how you're feeling.
Ooh, excited because I'm trying something new. I've never been on a podcast before. I'm going for it. I said, "Ooh, you asked me to come? Okay, I'm gonna come."
She was ambitious.
Because usually I would have been like, I don't know about that. I'm gonna sit that out. But I was like, I'm going for it.
I like that.
So brave, actually.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Ooh, I like that. How you feeling, Sim?
Oh, better than last time. I am less overwhelmed.
She done passed it on to me.
I found a home, y'all. I found a home.
So you happy?
Yes.
Relieved.
Yes, relieved. Relieved until December 4th when I have to find another home. And then we'll be back.
She ain't gonna be open the cup no time soon, okay?
She home hopping. Oh, how do I feel? I got overwhelmed today. I'll be very honest with y'all. I'm traveling in a couple of days and I do everything last minute. So I haven't done anything. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
That's real.
That's where I'm at, All right. We're going to get into our icebreakers. I'm just going to go straight for it. What is one annoying trait of yours?
Ooh, we all be thinking we're perfect, but annoying trait of mine. I'm all over the place. I'm always doing something. I be so excited about one thing, and then the next day I'm like, I'm on to the next one. So I know whoever with me be like, bitch, make up your mind. You were so excited about this, and now you're on to the next thing. You're mad. That's probably could come off as you're not. Yeah. So that could be annoying.
I can see that. I can see how that's annoying.
What about you, Zena?
I talk too much sometimes, and I don't take a lot of things seriously, and I'm sarcastic as fuck. So yeah, it's definitely annoying. If you don't know me and you're trying to get to know my personality, you just think like I'm picking up, I'm picking at stuff, but I'm like, I'm actually being sarcastic. Like, I'm actually joking. So yeah, God bless the man who decide to date me. It could give shady. It can definitely get shady too.
Yes, we're giving you a dowry.
Oh
no. Okay.
Oh, that's how you feel. Okay, well then, dowry him.
I would have to agree with Miyoshi on that. I am a little indecisive. You ask me something, where you want to go? I don't know. I'm down for anything. I don't know. You have to pick something. I don't know. There's so many options. I don't know. Like,
yeah, so many options.
It's giving Libra.
Listen.
Or Gemini.
Oh, that's what I am. Giving air sign.
That's my moon. So I'd be like,
you know. I don't know if they know about the big three, but do some research.
Oh, sorry, y'all. Let's not. I'm not even gonna go into that on y'all. Sorry.
I need a whole anchor. Like, Lord.
Okay, well, music might anchor you. If one artist had to go out of these three, who would it be? Burna Boy, Lucky Day, or Giveon?
Why would you do that?
That's a hard one, right?
That's what I do.
All right. Oh God. I'm so sorry. It's gonna have to be Burna Boy, y'all beloved Burna Boy. I'm an R&B girl. I love being in my feelings. I love crying. So it's gonna happen. But I love Burna Boy too. Like he's like my hype. He still gives me R&B vibes sometimes because he still puts you in your feelings like that. Cry, yo. Like, yes. So
she lives Igbo and shy, yo.
Yes.
I need a big boat and shy hoes. That's what I need.
Okay.
No
and
hoes.
Shy hoes. You want a shy hoe?
I got two of those I'm going
or
to vacation
with.
No, my friends, no. You know, I like hoes, but the shy.
I'm from a hoe from Chicago. Or
Yeah,
actual shy.
I don't do the shy time.
Oh.
I'm
she don't go that way.
I'll be faking, so I was like, no.
That's what I'm saying. Like the big boat with shy hoes. Siv, who gotta go for you?
I would say Giveon. And I know, because the voice, I know.
Girl.
But you know, I like Lucky Day. I love Lucky Day. Like I love his music. He's great. Okay. He gives me like a little Prince vibe, but like he can like sing though. Like he can sing. And then Burna Boy, I like a little international. Like I like, you know. Well, he does like Afro fusion. That's what he calls his genre. So I like to mix it up a little bit.
Well, you gonna hate me because it's Lucky Day for
me. Oh, that's crazy though.
Honestly though, I've never listened to one of his songs. Yeah.
Yo, you would fall in love with his music.
Shock me.
You love him.
And I know like his stuff is dope based on what I see on social media and what I hear. I mean, look at you guys' reaction, but like I'm not musically inclined. Y'all know that.
I mean, me either. I really don't listen to new releases, nothing. Like, people have to put me on. I'd be like, no, I don't know. I didn't listen to the album, no.
I'm rap inclined. When it comes to R&B, yeah, I'm just like, oh, this sounds good. Okay, let me run it back 10 times to see if I really like it. Would you rather be a friends with benefit or a sneaky link?
Crazy out here.
I'm trying to see what my pride would allow. Because both of them is lows. Knowing what I know now, I'm a true sneaky link. Yeah, because I know what I'm getting into. You're not going to play in my face. Yeah. Friends with benefits, they be playing in your face. So
I'm going to come back to you on that. Don't
I'm
worry.
like, I got questions. What?
Which would you choose?
I See, I was gonna say friends with benefits because I'm assuming y'all had a discussion because y'all were friends, and then you're like, okay, we're gonna do things with each other, and then we're gonna keep it there. So I would assume there's rules. Rather a sneaky link, you kind of just like, there's no. I mean, I guess there's some sort of rules, but like you just going maybe at night whenever y'all go meeting up, and like that's it. I don't know.
No, I'm right there with you, right? Because I feel like friends with benefits, at least we're friends. Like, we can have a conversation, we can hang out if we want to outside of the bedroom. I feel like a sneaky link, it's like, don't be looking at my vagina. No. It's like
it's a sneaky link.
Like no one knows. Like I'm gonna need people to know, that you fuck with me.
At least in the friendly way.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that way, yeah. But sometimes it be quotation mark friends.
Uh-oh.
So you said it was a scam. Because this is how she got on the podcast. Let me tell y'all.
With y'all.
Let me put you on blast.
About to get spicy.
Put your disclaimers out right now because
she talking about you. No.
I am talking about no one. This is hypothetical, baby.
All hypothetical.
Allegedly.
Disclaimer. See? Easy. So we posted this clip that we did with Wolf talking about friends with benefits, like the definition and so forth. And she was like, friends with benefits is a scam. Give me the mic. I said, baby, whenever you want. So
she had a story.
Story time. Expound on why you chose the sneaky link over the FWB.
Ooh,
based on your experience.
Yeah. Well, all right. So me personally, right, y'all, I be in my feelings a lot. So it's like once I be around you and we start forming a connection, I be like, I love you.
Oh,
how long that take? How long?
Once it goes in.
You said it right away. Hit that bullseye.
I'm looking in your eyes in the moment. I love you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. She's a certified lover girl.
But yeah, so like I feel like a sneaky link is kind of like I don't want to spend time with who I'm having sex with. Like a friend with benefits.
If you're not in a relationship with them.
Yeah. Like I don't want to spend time with you because if I'm not spending time with you, I'm able to detach easier. Like I'm able to be like, all right. Like, and don't be texting me all the time. Nothing. Like, I'm one of those, like, it need to be this or that. Because I'm all or nothing.
No middle ground.
All or nothing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you tell them this beforehand? The sneaky link or the...
I mean...
the friends with benefits. Did y'all have a discussion before? Be like... Or did you find out you get attached easily?
Yeah, I found out. It was like a shocker to me. I was like, oh. But it was we was already in it. So I was just like, this is happening, and now it's like,
and now I'm in love, and we're just having sex.
Yeah, so I'm hurt.
Did you see him with other people, or did you get a vibe that he might have been like,
no other people, but it's just like, when people have their mindset, they have their mindset. They like, look, we friends with benefits, baby. I don't know what you talk about with that feeling.
What's that?
No feelings over here.
But I'm the type where I'm like, I want to make you love me. Like,
oh, Lord, girl.
I can't accept the fact that you don't love me. Like
why not me? I don't understand. Like,
you're gonna love me.
One of those crazy. Yeah, it's giving psycho.
It's giving Sagittarius.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That's what it's giving.
Yeah, they call us terrorists for
no.
Well, thank you for being honest and transparent about that. Because I was like, I need to know why. Because she has to get something off her chest. But you did.
Yeah, I feel like it's a scam, y'all. I feel like that friends with benefits is a scam. Like, I mean, with a lot of men, they be like, oh, I could have sex without detachment. But it's like, at the same time, if you're a dope girl and they love your energy, they're going to use that energy. Like, they're going to be like, okay, yeah, we're friends and I love your energy. But they're not considering where, like, they're thinking about, okay, I love your energy.
Hold on,
and
hold on, I'm gonna cut you off real quick. Look at your camera, baby. Look at your camera.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not up there, but God. Hey, God.
Hey, God.
Sorry, y'all.
Hello, God. It's me, Mark.
I be forgetting. This is my first time. Y'all be patient with me. Like,
got all the it's okay.
But yeah, like they be like
draining your energy.
Yeah, they want to use your energy, like, because they enjoy you, so they're just like, okay, we're friends, so I'm gonna be around you, I'm gonna talk to you all the time. But they're not understanding what that's creating for you, like that bond that's creating for you. So it's like, while you're getting attached, they're like, well, yeah, we're still friends.
They want to milk the cow and not buy the cow.
Yeah.
That's the saying for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I think it's a scam.
Well then, let's take a deep dive. If you're new here, reintroducing segments again. So now we're gonna, get into our main topics of discussion. Question: how long do you think the dating period should last? I done set her up. There we go. Dive in. Miss, I get attached easily. Verbatim.
Look, I'm gonna contradict myself on this one because
You said reverse.
Because the thing about that's also why they call us Sagittarius, because we're very like, okay, I like you, but do I want to be in a relationship? No. Like, I'm also that person where I'm like, okay, I want to be around you and I want to do those relationship things, but do I want to be in a relationship? No. Like, the minute you start loving me, I'm...
Oh, wow.
So you are a walking double standard, a walking contradiction. Oh, my God.
It's toxic. That's why.
They be flighty as fuck. Ugh. Oh, I would know.
Because it's like that commitment part. It's like, oh, I don't know if I want to be with you forever, but I know I like you and I want to be with you right now. But not forever.
Is that like we like air sign?
No, Sagittarius are not air signs. They're fire signs, but they're like just very adventurous. They hate feeling tied down. They're like,
that sounds like a Gemini.
Not a Gemini.
Wait, are you a Gemini?
Oh wow, yeah, definitely a Libra. Yeah, it's definitely giving Libra energy.
But sorry, I bypassed the question, y'all. But but it could be I'm not for like rushing the commitment. It's like, as long as I know where this is headed, I'm good. Like, you don't have to be like, oh, you need to be my girlfriend right here and right now. As long as I know where it's headed, as long as I trust where it's headed, and that you're not playing in my face once again, yeah, we good. But I don't have a time limit, preferably like a year or so. To get to know you and, know for sure I want to. Because once I get in a relationship, we locked in.
For life.
Forever. I'm thinking forever.
Clink, clink.
It's given. What's that man's name? Suge Knight.
I'm dead. Not
Death Row. Welcome to Death Row.
Like, he is in jail, so he is, he locked up forever. But
how long do you think it should last him?
He should be in jail.
Hypothetically speaking, let's say let's be serious here. You dated for a while.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. So I agree with you. I don't think there's like a period. I think there's maybe things you should look for within the dating period. Like, you should see how the person is when they're angry, how they are when they're upset, when things don't all go.
Yep.
It's not all happy and roses. Those are things I'm trying to look for in that period.
Yep.
So that might take some time. because the person might be showing you a certain side of them all the time, and you never see them in those other situations. So, yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a time period.
So, like, if it's
per
3 years,
se.
for example, if it's 3 years, you're not gonna start thinking,
You playing in my face.
oh hell, that's what I'm saying. Like, or am I just on the roster?
Well, we gotta be on the same
It's
page. Like, do you want a relationship eventual? Like, what are we doing here? Are we
Yeah,
just like having fun?
Yeah, because the question would then be like, why? Like, we've been kicking it for 3 years. Why are we not in a relationship right now?
I
Like,
bet you're into a relationship thing.
what is it about the relationship that's scaring you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're a Sag. I would say 6 months the least, because
the
I've
least.
done rushed into some things and was like, this is not what it was supposed to be. You know,
This is not given.
it's not giving what I thought it would. So, and I'm dating to marry. So at this big age of mine, you know, the 3-0, I definitely want to be able to have like difficult conversations, see how you handle conflict, see how you are around my child.
That's a big
if
one.
that's even something you're willing to take on, right? Like, you want to be a step Zanny?
Zaddy.
Let me know. Anything under 2 months is a no. And trust me, after 2 months, I started to picture my life with you. So, like,
Start seeing vacations. Start seeing, oh, we could go like apple picking with my daughter. We could do things.
yeah. But can we vacation together? Y'all know how vacations be breaking friendships? I need to know if vacations be fucking up relationships.
I'm
That's
sure
what
it
I really
does.
need to know. That's my next test.
I'm sure it does.
It's on my 2023 bucket list. I need a vacation, and I need to know if we gonna leave that island together, or that country, wherever, or am I leaving you back?
This is like a Netflix show.
Legit.
but what be happening on vacation that be breaking up people?
Yo, let me tell you.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I don't know, but I feel like vacation, you let loose, right? We may have different vacationing styles. Like, I want to be Dora the Explorer. You want to nap at least 5 times, in the daytime. Some girls don't like doing things by themselves, right? So they're nagging like, babe, wake up. Let's go. I have this plan. Bitch, sit down. You're on vacation. Like
I was just working. I'm trying to sleep. I'm trying to relax.
So if you're rushing into things and you don't have these discussions prior to y'all on vacation, upset, you're arguing, and then there's a lot of liquor involved. Have the time, so tensions are heightened, and your whole shit's just going downhill when we're supposed to be having a merry old time. So people really be rushing into vacation.
I've never imagined that.
I might dance up on the wrong person. We drinking too much. I'm like, oh,
yes.
Oh, that's not my man. Ooh, that's not my girl. Ooh, Lord.
Especially if you're in the Caribbean.
That's what I'm saying. It's very normal.
That is likely to happen.
Or you don't know you're not allowed to be dancing on somebody.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
That happened to me one time too.
Oh.
I was like,
with the friends with benefits or with the babe? With
no, with the friends with benefits. I was like, why? He came over there. He said,
"What you doing?
What are you doing?"
I would just sit this one out.
I was like, "Yeah, we were just."
Yo.
He was like, "You had a choice." I was like, "Okay." I didn't even know.
Oh yeah, being too friendly to somebody is that's my problem. That's
listen.
And that's why she started giving them the podcast. They'd be like, yo, Ma. She'd be like, I have a podcast. Here you go. Don't ask for the number.
Go watch that.
Watch me there. Get to know me there.
Don't watch me here. Watch me on TV. There you go.
On TV. No, that dancing thing is big. I'm big on like not doing anything behind my partner's back that I wouldn't do to their face. So like, if I'm at a party with you and I'm not going to dance with anyone else while you're there, if you're not there, I'm not dancing with anyone. Like, I'm dancing with the air and my friends because if you were a fly on the wall, you had me fucked up. So yeah, I know.
If he came through real quick, I'm like, what you doing?
Oh, let me tell you.
A little pop up.
Don't pop up on me. Not joking.
You gonna find her on somebody's shoulders.
Okay.
No. Not pasa.
That's what I'm saying. Oh no.
No, I'm actually like very like stuck up when I go out. I'm like, unless if I approach you, I'm like, don't even look at me.
Which is rare.
Why? Oh, if I
You're
approach you?
approaching
Oh yeah.
men.
If I approach you, I'm drunk.
Yes.
Or I'm like, I really like what I see. So I'm gonna go get it.
If I was a man, I would not approach you. Not cause like no, cause like you're beautiful, but like you give like I would curse you the fuck out, or I would give you a straight ill right in front of your face. Like
You got me weak because I really just be like resting bitch face, like no. Yeah. That's why I gotta go get them when I want them. So they know it's real. Yeah. I beg mine.
They're gonna be scared like, oh, she coming over here.
I know. They be all
And Zena be giving that death stare.
Oh, I do?
Damn, it's her flirty face.
Okay. She flirting and they
It's
like,
just
oh my god.
That's how she do
I
it.
want you. I want you.
Put me on blast. What I do that?
You know your face.
I don't.
How she be doing it?
I need a mirror. Show them.
Yeah, let me see.
How it be going? So she see the guy and she like him.
Oh, it's a dead stare, honey. It's
Ah, stop. But that's sexy. The little eyes.
Like I gotta stare into your soul. Like, God, I'm so shy. Stop this right now. Right now. Abort this shit.
So you it's in the eyes person. Like I'm telling you in my eyes.
I gotta look you up and down. Like, oh yeah, now I know what she's talking about. Yeah. And I touch the hair. Yeah. All right, let me not give away my secrets. Like saying random ass men think I'm trying to get at them. No, I was like daydreaming about not being here. I'm gonna switch gears into because I follow you on we follow each other on Instagram, and you be posting some real shit. Ooh. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I see her in the office.
Like,
I see
My boss watches. Wait.
Oh,
let me stop. No, he doesn't.
I was supposed to say your boss watch.
Your boss watches.
It could have come out because I was in disbelief.
But I did literally almost get fired from one of my jobs because I made a YouTube video about. I was like, oh, do I hate my job? And yeah, it was a whole situation. Like, I will not. That's why I'm very cautious about what I be saying, what I be.
Oh yeah, you have to.
I literally almost lost my job, but
well, this has nothing to do with your job. Thank God, because I don't think about work while I'm here. I mean, what's that? Okay, so you constantly preach about like the preservation of the Black family and the Black family unit.
This might close that.
Uh-oh.
She got some things to say. Yeah. So I want you to touch on that. And I also want you to touch on what are some things. Hold on, how old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay,
my
so
God. In December.
Yes,
Oh
you
my
are definitely Gen Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just had to get that out there so that I can thoroughly ask my question because I'm a journalist.
Oh, get it, girl.
Degrees.
I did go to school for journalism though, but
Degrees.
What are some things you would change about the women or the generation before you to enable the preservation of the Black family unit?
Oh,
that's where we're going. We're deep diving into that.
Jesus. Yes, if y'all didn't know, y'all gonna hear. If y'all go follow me, y'all gonna hear a lot about things. I'm gonna be preaching, okay? Like, it's not no light stuff all the time. Yeah, I'm jokey sometimes, but like, I be preaching. But yes, I feel very strongly about preserving the Black family because a lot of times we are raised in dysfunction. A lot of times the kids are growing up traumatized, and it's a pattern. It's a pattern that just keeps repeating itself. And everybody is just, once we become adults, we start attacking each other about those traits that come about from those traumas instead of addressing where those traumas are coming from. So the root of those traumas is the family. What are we being brought up in? What are we seeing in our households? Granted, and this is coming from just me observing because I was brought up. I wasn't brought up with a 2-parent household, but
that was my next question. I love that you went there without me even having to ask that. It's like there's a telepathy happening, and I felt it.
Yeah, I was not brought up in a 2-parent household, but I did see I don't know what type of child I was. I just was able to like learn and pick up very easily on, okay, this is how I should behave. I know right from wrong just naturally. But I feel like it still is very important to have that 2-parent household so that we know that it's possible. Our children and their children need to see these things because right now it is not prevalent. Like it may be happening, but it's not like something that we're seeing all the time, and that's a norm in our community. So yeah, a lot of times we're seeing this. It's if you ask somebody about the Black man and the Black woman, the examples they're going to give you is very dysfunctional. Yes, my dad and my mom was arguing all the time. Yeah, my mom had my dad on child support. Yeah, that girl had me on child support, keeping me from my child. Just a bunch of dysfunction. And it's like, when are we going to stop? When are we going to start to really sit down and listen to each other and understand each other? I feel like the problem is we're not understanding each other and giving each other grace.
Wolf, you agree? Wolf is the manager, so
Am I the manager?
Wolf is the manager.
You are.
Yeah, I agree. Like when it comes to just like the trauma, I kind of hate the word trauma, to be honest with you, because it's always something that's holding us back. So I feel like that's where you were getting at. You know what I mean? It's like even though we do have past and we do have situations that's unfortunate, let's get past that in some kind of way, you know, because at the end of the day, like healing and getting along and just kind of understanding each other more so than anything is way bigger than that. And we can't change the past anyway. So
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And then we trauma bond, right? So you meet someone and it's like, damn, you had an effed up life too. Your parents were just straight up wilding. I don't know what the parents did, but you know, you grew up in dysfunction too, and you guys you have those similarities. So you feel like it's easy to bond, it's easy to open up because this person understands. But then what's past that, right? Once you get, that's the surface. Once you get to the depth of it, it's like, what's happening here? What else do we have in common minus that trauma? So I fully agree that it does start in the home.
Woo boy. Oh man, those are great conversations we need to have with our parents. Like Wolf said, it's something we have to, I guess it's our job to do that because you can't really count on your parents to really change. You would hope they do and learn from maybe conversations you have with them, but that doesn't happen all the time. So it definitely starts with us, and then we can change that for our kids. If you choose to have kids or just people you come in contact with, you can have those conversations with them also.
Yeah.
How do you feel like your life would have been different had you had grown up in a 2-parent household rather than one? Like if you were to, your ideal 2-parent household. I don't know if that makes sense.
I feel like maybe I would have been less likely to tolerate some things, or maybe I never found that I had like a problem with knowing what love looks like and what it's supposed to feel like. Like I feel like for some people they do have that issue with knowing what love is supposed to feel like. They think it's painful. They think they're accepting any type of love, not healthy love. I've never really had that problem because I was fortunate for my first relationship to be a very healthy relationship. For a young age, I was in a relationship when I was 15 until I was 21. Yeah. Or so, and that was a very healthy relationship. So that actually set my standard for what I feel like I deserve and what I know love is supposed to feel like. So that was fortunate for me.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people don't have that and they're not that fortunate to experience that. So I feel like that's what it would provide for other people. But for me, I don't know that it would have changed much because I have my grandparents. That's what I'm
that's a big
forgetting,
thing.
and that's what I
Yeah.
feel like I saw. My grandparents, a healthy relation. They never really like went behind each other's backs and overstepped one another's boundaries. It was always like, whatever discipline we're giving, that's what you're having. Like whatever your grandmother said, that's what we're doing. Whatever
They're
your
like a
grandfather
team,
said,
yeah.
that's what we're doing. It was, yes, a healthy team, and I never seen them argue. Never. And they was always on the same page, one accord. I seen healthy love. And I feel like that's kind of unconscious. I don't really even, because my grandfather passed when I was like younger. So it's like unconscious. I didn't even realize that I seen that. And that's how healthy it was. So it wasn't, that's not the memory I have in my head of dysfunction. A lot of people, that's the first thing they have in their head.
It was the parents, the household. For me, it was like, I haven't seen what I want, but I know what I don't want based on what I've seen. And that's what my standard was. It was like, yeah, I'm not tolerating that. Do not talk to me a certain way. Do not put your hands on me. Do not like have patience, because that's what I feel like my parents' marriage lacked, was patience and just understanding. I was like, nah, I don't want that.
So can I ask you a question? Because you saw that your parents' relationship lacked patience, do you think you find yourself maybe in relationships jumping the gun when you see somebody about to like trigger that point in you?
Take me to therapy. No, I used to. I definitely was very flighty. Like at the first sign of you got me fucked up, I was out the door. I would come back, but
It was that moment. It's like,
yeah, rather than like speaking about it or like addressing those triggers with that person, letting them know like, hey, this is how I grew up. This is, what triggers me. So let's not do that. My first instinct was run as far as you could. But then the older I got and the more like understanding I got, it was like, talk things out. Like, if you're gonna be vulnerable, and that was the problem, I wasn't really a vulnerable person. Like, there was always a guard. I'll give you just enough. I'll let you in. You're fully in. You feel me? You're as comfortable as you could be, but there's always just a little guard up, and that's how I maintain control. And obviously there's a lack of vulnerability, so I'm not like giving you the depths of my soul. Like there's certain things you're not gonna know. And I think once I realized like, like you're either gonna do this or you're not. Like stop wasting your time, stop wasting people's time. That's when I learned like vulnerability is actually a strength and it's not a weakness, because that's how I used to look at it.
Amen.
It's like, now you got one up on me. It's like, why am I thinking like that?
Amen.
That's what it feels like. Well, my parents used to argue all the time, and then I found in my relationship I would also do the same thing. So I fed off of that energy, but then not even realizing where it came from, and then looking back when I was younger, like it was very bad. So then I had to learn. Me and my partner had to have very hard conversations, and then both of us, because he grew up in a very tumultuous parental household also. So we're both reenacting all of the things that we saw. So we really had to have conversation and be like, okay, this is not working. Like this is not it. We even took a break from each other because it's like this is too much. So we had to grow in some areas in order to be with each other. And that took a while. Yes, that took a while.
But y'all took time
Yeah.
to sit and understand each other. It wasn't like, well, you do this, so I'm out, and we're over. Like, you know, a lot of us were like, we're like, you do this, so I'm out. It's never gonna work, you know. Or we're sitting there tolerating that dysfunction.
Yeah.
We're addressing it, but it's still going on.
Yeah.
Y'all sat and y'all understood each other and understood where it was coming from and addressed it right then and there. That is what I'm talking about.
Oh, it took some time.
Between two people. Yeah,
But
and it's gonna take
yeah.
time. But like take time to address it and be patient with each other and say, I know where this is coming from. I know where this is coming from, and I'm not gonna, and yes, it's your responsibility to take care of it, but I'm not going to fault you in it. I understand where it comes from. I understand it's not your fault.
Yeah.
You know, like
Preach.
Yeah.
So is that one thing you feel like the generations before you should have like practiced? I mean, you're Gen Z, we're millennials.
yeah.
Technically, we are two different generations, right? So I never want you to go back to what comes before us, whatever it is.
The boomers.
The ones who blame everybody for everything.
Everything. Had it the easiest. No, I'm joking.
Yo, I mean, it's a different time.
Legit. But what are like some things that you're noticing in millennials, especially like, you know, Black women or just Black people in general, that you feel like we should work on as a collective to preserve the Black family? God damn, I can't get a word out.
Women, I'm gonna agree with a lot of men who say femininity. That's how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Oh yeah, like I noticed, I was like, yeah, a lot of us were not operating in that, and I understand why we're not. That's a whole nother rabbit hole. But it's being intentional and saying, hey, okay, I know where this is. I know I'm starting to like operate in my masculinity out of fear and trying to protect myself. But it's also making sure you do it for the right guy, because some people will take advantage of, because that's a very vulnerable space.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate just for a little bit. So you pick and choose who you want to give that femininity to, rather than it just being a part of your aura and your character and your well-being.
No, I think. See, that was
a man
me,
pick his master.
That was me responding out of protection. But like, I do think we need to get to a space where that's just how we're operating. But I feel like, unfortunately, the world we live in, that's how we survive. Like,
so
in
we're moving from survival rather than out of love.
Yeah, because it's like in the world, we're not fortunate enough to be in our feminine energy and still be able to like really get to where we're going as a single woman. But like, once you get into a relationship and you're building something with somebody, yes, you do need to just be able to rest in that energy. Just because now you trust your y'all in a partnership, so y'all working towards somewhere together. So you trust that he's going to be able to lead you. That's when you're resting in your feminine energy and you're not being combative, because like if you're being combative, you don't trust him to lead you. So that means y'all shouldn't really be, in a relationship if you don't trust that man to lead you. So yeah, we need to be able to get to a space where we can rest in our feminine energy and just not attack. I mean, because they're also going through things. They also are feeling the same things we felt from our childhoods. I just feel like we don't give them that benefit of the doubt a lot.
Or the grace.
Yeah, that
To
grace.
feel those
Yes,
things.
that's the perfect word.
Feel those things.
Yeah.
I do want to touch on a point that you mentioned. You said, not word for word because I got short-term memory, but you just said something along the lines of, as a single woman, it's hard to move through the world with your femininity.
Yeah.
I disagree, because I realized when I started moving from a place of femininity, I get everything I want. Whether that be men I'm dating, whether that be just from regular people on the street. It's like they see that softness and they see that like, oh my gosh, she's so feminine. For some reason, they just want to give you things, and they are just so much more
It's an
pleasant,
attractive energy.
And so I do have to disagree from my experience with that. When I was like moving on the defense all the time, or like, just don't talk to me, like I'm mad at the world, don't ask me the fuck why. Nothing was coming easy. Like everything was a challenge. So that's my experience. I do understand like sometimes people take advantage of that, but I do feel like if that's your natural aura and your natural being, then just let that be. Feel me? Don't like try to put up a front and try to like act tough because you're scared. Because what is fear? Like,
make life harder for yourself.
Yeah. And it's like you're not creating. I feel like we create the spaces that we're in and the people we attract, right? So like if I'm vulnerable, I'm feminine, I'm moving from a place of love, nurturing, all those other qualities that make you feminine, I'm going to attract someone who's going to respect that and who's the opposite in their masculinity. Who wants to lead but not control, right? Who's patient but still logical. Like all those different characteristics. So
that might come with age and experience, though.
She learned that.
Definitely had to learn that.
Because you are still young, so maybe through time, you'll see that it's okay to just be in your feminine energy.
Yep.
Okay. I love this conversation.
I know the women gonna be in the comments like, ooh,
Black power. We gonna see. We gonna see. A lot of men watch our show. That's funny. Like 80% of our viewers are men, and I'm curious.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm very curious to hear the opinions on this conversation.
Don't get me all sorry.
I think you'd be all right. I think you'd be fine.
You talked to your shit. You did. Next segment I personalized to you, and it's called Yoshi's World. And it gets like Mario Kart.
Yes, literally.
So that's what we're diving into right now.
Yoshi's World.
What are qualities in a man that would make you want to be with him? And vice versa. Like, what are like 5 top qualities you're like, yeah, you need to be mine? And what are like maybe 3 you're like, stay away from me?
Okay, so in my new, like what I'm learning, because I'm learning a lot about what I like now. And I'm learning I love like a man who could like take control. Like I love that. I'll just
Your
be
eyes
like,
light up.
Take
Love that, yes.
it's Yeah, like take control and just like I get
lead.
it just like give me butterflies when he just be like, ooh, just do this or do that. And I'm like, wow, I didn't think I would like that because I'm very dominant. And so I thought I would be like, who the hell are you talking to? But then I was like, ooh, and when I say this is different than when women say they need somebody to put them in their place. That's a different story for me. I don't agree with that.
We had that conversation here.
I don't agree with that. Put me in my place. You're an adult. You should know how to behave yourself and not be. I don't need to know how to behave myself, but I do need to know that you leading and you gonna tell me like, like I got this. Just it's simple. Yeah, that I got this. That's attractive to me. I love somebody who of course is intelligent, who can hold the conversation. I love talking. I love debating and having like conversations about like otherworldly stuff. So that just turns me on. I just like, ooh, talk your shit. Like,
yes, that's a must.
What else? I love somebody who pays attention. Like if you just notice little details. And I talk a lot too. So it's like, if you just listening to every word I'm saying and you're not zoning me out sometimes, I'm like, you heard when I said that? Yes. Like, I might just, tonight, baby. Like,
turn it up.
Yeah.
I'm correct. She giving y'all all the jabs.
4, I love somebody funny, of course. Like make me laugh. You can make me laugh out my panties.
Oh yes.
Like a shy hoe.
We brought it back.
5. What else?
I mean, 4 is fine if you can't think of a 5th. But I think you got a 5th.
I love somebody that's different. Like every different is subjective, but like I love the little oddballs. Cause I grew up being an oddball. So people used to always tell me, you weird. They used to call me a hippie. And I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean, but like it's like you the hippie of the family. I'm like, but I've learned to love it. So now I'm attracted to people like that. I'm like, ooh, you're different.
And I think comfortable in their different.
Yeah. I love that.
Like a guy that likes his nails get.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
Did she say that?
Like, I wouldn't mind that.
You see it?
As long as you're confident in it. And
a little Uzi Vert. That's what she like.
Yeah. Oh, no, not Uzi. I'm sorry.
Well,
that's too far. You're gone too far.
You're gone too far. Oh, that's too alt for you? Okay. Oh.
Because for me, he don't give me. Like, I would be like, I'm gonna be masculine and you're gonna be the feminine.
Oh,
like
no.
that.
You don't get to live in your femininity.
Yeah, but what if he's masculine?
I mean, if he is, he could surprise me.
JT seems like a powerhouse.
Shit.
He seems like a powerhouse.
Imagine he is,
seems
though.
like. Because I think he is.
I think he's small but mighty.
Yeah, and he's from Philly, so I think he is.
If he is, that would be even more of a turn on because it's just like a shock. Like, ooh, hold on.
He's a shy hoe.
Imagine he just be flipping her in the bedroom and shit.
Listen, she's still there. Shit.
Let us know if you want to come on the show.
Be those ones too.
That's a fact.
That's a different story.
Yeah. Okay, so what are your 3 like hell no's? And don't you say the opposite of everything I just said.
That's the answer.
I hate somebody who. Oh dang, that's a strong word. You was ready, girl. I can't stand when somebody is like, cocky, just like
arrogant,
too boastful. And it's just like, yeah, I'm that nigga. Like I'm like, you're not. You're not. So now you're not because you said it. But somebody who's more shallow. I can't really get into deep conversation with you because it's surface level. Like some people they just live on surface level conversation. I'm just like, what are we talking about?
These motherfuckers can't swim. That's what it is.
What are we talking about? We're gonna talk about your favorite color every day? Like,
damn. Talk about your favorite color every day. I know it's blue. God damn.
What you ate every day. Like, where's the depth? Where's the substance?
come on. Like, ask me about my family. I don't know. Look, that's my problem. I be wanting to get deep so quick. Like, look, I'd be the quick. See, he hate the word trauma. I'd be the random be like, what's your traumas?
Yeah.
Let's unpack this right now.
What do you go to sleep crying about every night?
Yeah.
Like, that's me.
Mm-hmm. What's your fears?
What else? I'm not too judgmental, so I don't really. I go as I just like as I go. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling you out. I'm not too judgmental, but
you for sure know what you like.
yeah, those are just my main two things that I could think of right now.
Okay.
Cause yeah, like I said, I go with the flow. I find out what I like as I go.
Symphony had a question regarding your qualities.
Oh, yes. So if you didn't get all the qualities you wanted in a person, would you still date them?
Yeah.
Say you didn't get like 2 out of the 3 or 4. Would you still consider them an option?
Yeah, because if I'm considering long, like it depends on which 2 it is. Because some of them, it's like if I'm thinking long term, I'm thinking, does this work long term? Like after the butterflies are gone, after those lustful
The
feelings
honeymoon
is gone,
phase,
am I gonna look at you like, what the fuck is going on? Like, am I gonna look
What's
at
they
you like that?
thinking?
But if it's just like petty stuff and I'm like, oh, okay, like I could grow to love these things about you, you know, as I get to know you. So, yeah, I could. Shoot. Look.
There ain't no problem there. We growing together.
My final question in this segment, I want to touch on imposter syndrome real quickly.
Ooh.
Because I feel like a lot of people suffer from that. Disclaimer, I don't know what that is. I deserve everything I get. And that's just where I'm at. Like
that's that Leo.
I'm a Libra.
No, you said you had Leo Venus, right?
Yeah, I do. You do remember. Honestly, I've only learned the word like last year, maybe this year, because I really don't know what that is. So let me just let the people know real quick what's imposter syndrome. It's a psychological pattern in which people doubt their accomplishments and have a persistent, often internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. Why are you doubting your accomplishments? I am genuinely confused. And you posted about this.
I did.
That's why it's here.
In Yoshi's world.
In Yoshi's world, yes.
That's exactly what I just realized that. I'm like, ooh, she catching me.
I'm not saying that I'm good at what I do, but...
Oh, she's an investigator over here, honey.
Yo, I'm trying to think about how long she had to be investigated. Like,
I went to school for journalism. I'm telling you, like, there's an art.
Went through the archives. No,
I did. I be screenshotting shit like, ooh, putting that in her folder. In the files.
She said, interesting. I got you next time. I don't know. I've just been doing that. Honestly, y'all, this is a horrible thing. That's why I said, like, pay attention to the children, man. Because I've been doing this since I was a child. Like, I don't know why I do that. Like, I'm just so self-conscious. Like, I'm just, like, afraid that people are gonna look at whatever I'm doing. It's more so about other people's perspectives. Like I'll judge myself before anybody else even gets the chance to even see it, and I'm projecting what I think they're gonna think. Like even if I may think it's okay, I'm like other people might not think this is okay. I might be feeling my head. Like it's a terrible thing to have, and it's something that I feel like I need to get out of. But I don't know where it came from. Honestly, I never was bullied. I never was. Nobody ever spoke down on me. And everybody always like spoke highly of me. Actually,
So you're always validated.
And I don't know why I invalidate myself. I don't know. I don't know where it comes from.
And I know some people hate that about me. Like, you think you're the shit 24/7. Yeah, the fuck I do. Because if I don't, who's going to think that of me, right? And honestly speaking, I really and truly do feel like I deserve every good thing that comes my way, because I know the sacrifices I made. I've known the work I put in, the sleepless nights, the praying, the manifesting, like doing the actual work. So when I get it, who am I to say I don't deserve it, or like I'm a fraud because I'm doing this? Like, keep those projections over there on a fucking screen where they belong. Because I am not the screen, baby. I'm just saying. That's all I'm at with that. Any thoughts on this?
Oh no, I can relate to Yoshi. I definitely have moments of imposter syndrome. Throughout my life, there's been times where, even doing this, there's times where I'm just like, well, can I do this? Because I have a issue with communication. I get nervous. At least, definitely when I started,
she was shaking.
Very, very nervous.
See the growth, baby.
Oh yes, because I've become more confident in just my thoughts and just how to articulate myself. And it's still a learning process, but like now I'm aware of that, and like I give myself grace in that area. So I don't really have like imposter syndrome in that. But even like become a flight attendant, I was like, can I do this too? Like this is a lot. Like each week taking all these tests and everything, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm here with like younger people, like 19 to like 23. I'm just like, maybe this is for them. Like, I don't know. But then I got through it and I was like, okay, I could do this. And just looking back at like stuff I did when I was younger and just accomplishments that I had, I'm just like, well, how could I doubt myself? Like, I've done all these things. Like, it doesn't even make sense. But you just have to really just look at everything you've done and be like, you've gone through this. Like, you can do this. Like, you got this. It's fine.
It's a fact. It's like, what's the next level? It's always a level up.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And if I'm not leveling up, then what am I doing?
Yeah.
So, yeah. We're going to move on to our final segment called On Repeat. So, what song or album have you been listening to, running it back to back? No Drake intended. See what I did there? If you know, you know. I'm just saying.
Hey.
I'm joking. What's been on repeat for you?
I normally just let my throwback playlist, like, I just put that shit on shuffle and just that's
the R&B playlist.
Yeah, my throwback is like my R&B. Like,
see,
it's like
she a lover. That's why.
Like I'm listening to Carl Thomas.
Ooh, Summer Rain.
Joe, yes, that's the song. Like, that is my shit. But on repeat, like when I need today, I actually was listening to Tiana Taylor. What is it called? Wrong Bitch. Cause I needed a little bit of encouragement.
Oh, she needs that
my
energy
foot on the ground. So I was like, you got the wrong. Yeah.
Oh,
it just put that little what they call it? She putting a battery in your back. Yeah. Making me delusional.
Oh no.
No, you need that sometimes. What? Like, nobody even doing nothing to you. What are you talking about? He got the wrong bitch.
See? And you be walking around with that energy like, yeah, y'all got me fucked up.
Yeah, he forgot to text you a little bit. You got the wrong bitch. I'm ready.
You got the wrong bitch. Oh
Ain't nothing going on.
Ready to cut him off. I be blocking people. He had to tell me, like, you gotta stop. You have to stop. Like, why are you blocking me over that? It's Tiana. I'm sorry.
It's Tiana.
No.
Say what's been on repeat for you.
Let me get the album out. It is Smino's album. I want to say, is it called Love for Rent? What is it? It is, right? Okay, yep. The album is
always
fire.
Count on Wolf to tell you what something is.
Yeah.
In any aspect of a conversation.
This is a fact. That album, there's no skips on there. It is amazing. It's just different vibes. It's he's singing, he's rapping, he's just incredible.
What genre does he do?
I guess it's rap, right?
Like it's rap, but
technically
he sings very well.
Sings, yeah.
Very well. So
J. Cole's on the album.
Ooh, I gotta listen to
it. It's a good album.
I've been listening to I'm gonna sing it for y'all.
Uh-oh.
Y'all know I can't
Vocal.
So, here it goes.
If you're watching, if you're listening, head over to YouTube to see me embarrass myself. Or you can hear it, Okay.
Y'all ready? She gotta clear her throat. She ready. She getting ready.
Expression for me.
La 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 la.
Let me warm up. I'm warm. Oh my God.
Need some honey?
Oh my God. You know what? I don't think I can do it.
Oh, nah, dude, what happened? Nah. You got imposter syndrome right now.
See, here we go.
And y'all know I don't have no imposter syndrome. So we
Go ahead, let us know then.
Baby, the sound of you.
Okay.
It's better than a harmony. I wanna love you in every single way.
Oh, I know what
it's touch you. Yeah, it's her.
Okay. Yes, I know that song. Okay.
Wanna love you.
What's the name of it? Because I can't.
I think it's Wanna Love You.
I be the main person listening to shit and don't know the name.
Girl, you and I both. It is definitely called Every Kind of Way. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's on her old
If
album,
the world
right?
something only have today. But it makes me think of my daughter, not in like the sexual way, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's like I really do want to love me in every kind of way, and I do, and I actually got that from someone I was talking to, and he's a great father, and he tells me like when he listens to R&B songs, he like just attaches it to his children or to his daughter, and I was like, oh shit, that's dope. Like I never thought of that, and it's just a whole different meaning to me. It gives that song, so
I like
that's
that.
what's been on repeat for me. Miyoshi, thank you for coming through. Let them know where they can find you one more time.
At the Yoshi Rose on Instagram. That's really the only platform I'm on. So,
and she be cooking, y'all.
Oh, I do, but don't ask me to cook because I'll tell you no.
Oh,
she put parsley in everything.
She put parsley in everything.
On everything.
The investigation
Salt Bae,
continues.
I'm parsley, babe. Like this is the finger.
And that's what we gonna leave you with.
Yes, you killed it.
Yes. We shall see you guys next week. Make sure you subscribe. If you're listening, download those episodes and tell a friend to tell a friend to check out Honestly the Podcast because it's popping.
Exactly.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in.
We're your hosts,
Zena,
Symphony, Bree. If you want to see more of us, check us out on YouTube and Instagram at Honestly Though Podcast and our website, www.honestlythoughpodcast.com.
As always, if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and drop a like and share Honestly Though with your friends. Until next time, keep it honest.
Lucky Land Casino asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. Mary redeemed a $50,000 cash prize playing Chumba Casino this year.
I was only playing for fun, so winning this was a dream come true.
Chumba Casino is America's #1 social casino experience. It's serious fun. With over 80 casino-style games to choose from, you too could win life-changing amounts of cash. Be like Mary. Log on to ChumbaCasino.com and give them a whirl. That's ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void or prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. The voice in the preceding commercial was not the actual voice of a winner.
It is the Riot Podcast. Good Tuesday, December 3rd. I got to ask you guys a question real quick.
It's December 6th.
What? Oh, yeah. Okay. Whatever. Who's counting?
Whatever.
Who's counting?
Well, if you're going to make a point to say the date, you should.
Probably should say the correct
Yeah,
one.
say the correct date and not make people weirded out.
It's Friday.
my mind was on other things. Isaiah, for the video podcast, go back to the bump shot.
The bump shot?
Yeah, can you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Do I look bigger?
You do look kind of wide.
Are you going to point this out? You don't like how your camera shot is?
Yeah, I think what we used to have here where I sit, there used to be a much bigger monitor. I don't know exactly how big, but I believe it was 249 inches. And that was excessive. And so we've shrunk it down to a more reasonable size, but it's been slightly moved, which is good for me to be able to like see it while I talk to you guys and stuff. But it's also
now,
not blocking because it's not so large and in the same place. It's not blocking so much of my torso.
Are you sure you don't like your side stomach shot?
Yeah. Is that your good side too? I'm wondering. Is that your
I don't
good
have
side?
a good side.
Okay, well that's rough.
Or some people could say it's all good side.
Do you want to switch with Isaiah and have his
yeah, I'll sit there if you want.
torso showing?
Are you sure you're comfortable with that?
I think I look good. I like that chair. I think I look good in it. Because when you zoom into this shot here, I love that shot of myself.
Oh, that's a good shot.
This one seems kind of far away. I can't really see myself that well. But this shot, you really get up close and personal.
And to the
Even
audio.
though you're always looking down, we got to figure out a way for you to look
this
up.
is supposed to be moved up. It's still in the testing phase.
Yeah.
So we might have to get Chris, the engineer, and who does all
To
this
work
stuff
on
to
that?
move it up and also to block my torso.
Because you always look like you're sad, like you're looking down.
Yeah. Well, it's
Or
a
it
slightly
looks like-
lowered angle.
It looks like you're working
Here.
with your eyes shut.
Hold on. How about if I hold it like? Oh no! Now it's blocking the camera.
Yeah, now we can't see it all. Now it's blocking your torso.
And this is really uncomfortable for me. So
Well, we're working on it. And if you're only
it's a work
listening
in
to
progress.
our audio podcast, don't forget you can head over to Radio U Riot on our Facebook and our YouTube channel so you can actually watch our daily podcast too.
Anybody listening to the audio podcast skipped all this.
Yeah, they're
like this doesn't apply to me.
Oh, you're just ignoring it, guys. It's a real
Yeah.
problem.
So today during the show, one of the things we talked about is we kicked it off with driving with stuff all over your windshield, right? Which always happens like in the wintertime. It happens to me a lot like when my windshield is frozen and then you do that thing where you like drive down the road and you just like look through like the very bottom, you
Yes.
know? I love doing that.
I sometimes I figured out
We've all
that's
done that.
you. That's you. I'm not
You want to have a
surprised.
confession time real quick?
What?
Let's hear it.
I did that once. It wasn't intentional. I was running late to work and I thought that I had it defrosted enough that I was able to see because
Yeah.
it wasn't snow, it was just the frost stuff. And so I tried driving away and I go around a corner and I was going super slow, but I scraped up the side of a lady's car.
No, you did not.
I did too.
You
Yeah.
did not.
Uh-huh.
Did
Well,
you stop?
Here's
Did
what
you
the problem
stop?
was. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
just make-
And
I
you know
thought
what?
you were saying you didn't stop.
You know the great part is?
What?
Still made it to work on time.
Attaboy.
But no, the
As
problem
you
was
should.
it was so I could see where the car was parked, I pulled out, and once the sun hit it, so there's not a lot I could do. So that was the issue. But
yeah,
we got that sorted out, insurance and everything, and we made it right. But that was a lesson learned. The good thing is we get up so early here. Our car's windshield doesn't even have time to get frosty. At
Yeah,
least
you
in
don't
my
get too
experience.
much.
So.
And mine's like mine is underneath like my little garage thing, so it doesn't really get frosted in there.
I'm in the garage.
You're in the garage?
I'm in the garage.
Yeah. I have like a
look at you
carport,
guys.
which is like has open on both sides, but it still doesn't get frosted if it's under there.
Nice.
For me personally.
Lucky you.
So we also talked about some of the hottest cities to move to in the U.S. for 2023.
Hot as in trendy.
Yeah, the new places
Not
to
temperature.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a very interesting
Or
list.
like attractive people-wise.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's a good
Yeah.
one. I need to find that list. How do I get there?
It basically just learn as we say no to every place that they're saying on this list.
Yeah, we quickly found all the foibles, all the picadillos with all the towns on
It feels like it's every state, and they paid money to try to get, like El Paso was like, all right, Texas, we're taking it this year.
We want to be number one.
I'm paying money because we want to be on the list and we want people to move here.
Austin and San Antonio have been too trendy for too long. We need a new trendy city.
Yeah, so they're paying.
And it's El Paso.
So do you guys have like a certain place that's like always been in your mind if you were to move somewhere? If you like didn't have to work or anything and you could just move to a new city, where would you go?
I want to move to Florida or like some island. Like I would be probably the person who would want to sell everything and move like to a different country.
Oh, a different country.
Yeah.
A globetrotter.
Yeah, what do they call those expats or whatever?
Oh, is that what you want to do?
You just go somewhere else and you're like, yeah. I'm
So you don't love America then?
I do.
That's fine.
I do, but like I could do
You just
Costa
don't like
Rica.
you don't like living here?
I would like
She's
a
ready to
change.
explore.
I
She
wanna
wants to
change.
explore the world. Why not?
You still got to have a home base somewhere.
Nope, you don't.
Maybe
You don't
in the
need
United
one.
States.
Actually, with my dogs, I do.
What have we ever done to you?
So what are you thinking, Hudson? Do you have a place?
If it was in the United States, it'd be somewhere in the South. I don't know if, like California feels like more of my vibe, but like Southern California.
Like Cali boy, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, anytime
just can't
you bring
afford
that,
it.
yeah,
No one
you
can.
can't afford
Nobody
it.
can.
But we're talking about a dream scenario where I can just go wherever I want, and in this scenario, I have enough money to live in Southern California and
That'd
have
be
it be
good.
70 degrees every day.
Maybe I'd pick Alaska. Maybe just for a little bit.
Just for like a couple months or so,
Yeah.
I
maybe a
don't
year.
know. I don't know if you have a Alaska Alaska.
I can handle it.
I don't
For me,
know.
it's a
I
no.
don't think you'd last very
Not
long.
for me,
up
for
there.
you, but for me to
For
live
no,
there,
no.
absolutely not. I would definitely have to go somewhere warm, like
I
in
can see-
Arizona
I can
or
see
in Texas
Florida as
or
well.
Florida. Yeah,
Yeah.
one of those.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that whatsoever.
I could see Texas.
I wouldn't
also
mind it.
just like the southern U.S. because of the food. So maybe but I don't know. But then there's also other things I don't like about the South. So I don't know. There's nowhere perfect, is there?
Nowhere except for home.
Where your heart is. And it's not on this list. All right, guys, I think we're good.
I think so.
I have more things to say about the Grand Canyon.
No.
Oh, you want to talk about the Grand Canyon?
Yeah, I do want to talk about the Grand
All right.
Canyon.
Talk about it.
I was just
Hurry up.
thinking, this is the problem with turning these, turning these big, beautiful pieces of nature into tourist attractions. Is it comes with all these people,
Rules.
yeah, all these rules and stuff like that. Because think about it, go back in time, right? Go back, let's say 500 years before the Grand Canyon. People travel from all over to go see it. What do you think the people that went and saw the Grand Canyon back in those days did before it was
but we have more
managed by the Parks Service or
We
whatever?
have more things that could get the park in trouble. So like graffiti's huge. Like that's a huge problem there. And trash is a huge problem. So like that's just us as, horrible human beings are tempted now to be able to destroy something.
Well, I think
That was once so beautiful.
Yeah.
I thought
back
you just
then,
said
they
it is
didn't-
still
It
beautiful.
is still beautiful.
They didn't have spray paint back then.
But if we don't take
Okay,
care of
I
it,
didn't say
it's not
anything-
going to be.
I never said
beautiful.
it. Graffiti, that's the Grand Canyon, you're going to graffiti, that's horrible. But throwing rocks.
Now listen, I am opposed to the throwing rocks thing, but you know what I think would be really funny? Is if you just peed
no,
into the Grand Canyon.
there's also also rules against that.
Is that their rule there?
Oh my gosh!
I'm
And
against
that's
the
why,
rocks.
Dang.
This is why you go
You know how
there,
funny
and
that'd be,
they're-
though?
this is why they don't trust anybody because it escalates
To that.
You're just like, hey, you're just going to the bathroom, and you're just skipping a couple
You
of
just
rocks.
skip it some
Be
rocks.
hurting them. Who would it be
And
hurting?
then all of a sudden, you're looking up and there's just a stream flying by you, and everyone's like, "What the heck is
You've
that?"
started a flash flood.
I know.
And there's like some poor trail donkey that's
Just getting wiped out down the
Swept
road.
away.
So
Swept
I
away.
think we just, you're probably not as bad, but there's people that would escalate it way more.
Yes.
Well, we'll have the rules for them and the rocks I'm able to throw.
No rules for you.
Yeah. No, just as long as in the rules is I can throw rocks.
Well, we talk about the Grand Canyon and someone who did get in trouble.
All right. That's long enough.
Okay.
All
That's
right.
too
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
See you guys.
So long.
Your For You page would be a lot more fun if it had Hudson, Nikki, and Isaiah. Follow at Radio U Official on TikTok. The Riot. Radio U.
I was thinking about something.
Yeah.
Actually, not okay. I read something yesterday.
Yeah.
That I can't get out of my mind, and that is that robots, right?
Robots, yeah.
Robots. There was they can do amazing things, right? But I read that for like the team of researchers that have worked on like humanoid robots, trying to get a robot from lying down, like a robot was lying down, and teaching that robot or programming it or whatever to get it to be able to go from lying down to standing up.
Yeah.
It took them like years.
Really?
Like decades.
Why would
to
you have
figure
to?
that out.
Your robot could just stand.
You could just start it standing, right?
It could just stay standing.
But what if it falls down?
Oh, yeah, good call.
Because that could definitely happen. Robots are pretty unstable.
You're right.
But think about that for a moment. That there was one side, probably a team of scientists, roboticists,
years,
that every day they would come home from work and their partner would say to them, "Hey, honey, how was work today?" And the roboticist would be like,
"Well,
robot's still lying down. It's still lying down."
What a weird thing to think about.
There was probably researchers that came and went. They got there. The robot was lying down. They left years later.
Retired.
And the robot never stood up. It was lying down the whole time. And so that's what I was thinking about. And that will never be appreciated. We appreciate all the things that robots, they build cars and they're like, hostesses at hotels and whatever. But we appreciate that. But we don't appreciate just the fact that some robots can go from lying down to standing up.
I would love just to be around you yesterday as someone's like, boy, Hudson, like, what are you thinking about? You're really deep in thought.
Looking really contemplative.
Yeah, what are you like contemplating? You're like, well, did you know robots can barely stand up?
Yeah, it took them years to just go from lying down to standing up.
That's a look into your mind.
And so I thought about that for a long time, but then I also thought, some people don't think what we do is impressive, but in a way, I think what we do is very similar to what those roboticists did, and that is we have to get ourselves from lying down to standing up every day, and we try, and some days it's not easy, but we do it.
I think scientists are still working on it.
Yeah, that's right. It's they may never perfect the technique of me going from lying down to standing up. Yeah,
wow,
smoothly.
all right. There's something.
Yeah, that's what was on my mind. So now it's off of my mind.
You feel better getting it out?
I do. Yeah, and I hope all the scientists that work so hard on that, I hope they get the recognition they deserve. I hope they appreciate me shining a light on their struggle.
Hudson, Nikki, The Riot on Radio U.
It's time for our annual reminder that you're not supposed to drive with snow on your windshield.
I thought it was always just like bad taste, but are you saying you can get a ticket for it?
You can definitely get a ticket, and not just for your windshield either. Of course, it depends on...
Because it's dangerous.
Yeah, it is, especially when it's the like heavy, chunky snow that like it's snowy, but it's also gets like kind of gets icy. Because, have you ever seen that kind of snow when it flies off the top of a car in front of you on the highway?
That could hit your car.
You don't want that on hitting your windshield,
especially
and busting your windshield all
if it's
up.
just you being lazy and you just hope it'll fall off.
Yeah.
But what you don't realize, it'll fall off to another car.
It is pretty fun doing that when it's the really powdery snow, though.
Yeah, but like in your driveway, not when you go out.
I don't know. I like the powdery snow when obviously you clean off the windshields, but you leave the hood of your car, you let the snow sit on there, and then when you're driving at night, and then it looks like you're entering hyperspace or something, all the snow sliding up over the windshield. You don't do that?
Well, not normally.
Okay. Well, you should try it sometime.
But you're not supposed to if it's covering your windshield.
Yeah, it feels like that should go without saying, because one of the most important things in this day and age when it comes to driving, until one day maybe we have self-driving cars, it's important to be able to see. And that is why it is so important to clean your entire windshield off of your car, not just a little circle, not just a little peephole. You need to have...
Yeah, we've all done that.
Yeah, and you're running late for work, you try to cut some corners, that's just going to end badly for you. And very likely somebody else as well. So we have, just to nail this point home, we have a driver in Washington State. They were driving along State Route 16 in Kitsap County. They were driving for more than 5 miles with snow, and we've got a picture here. It is. They have the little peephole, a little porthole of space where they can see, but you don't have full visibility. Not nearly. I'd say at least 75% of the windshield covered with snow. And so once they got pulled over, that's a $553 ticket.
Whoa, that's expensive.
It is expensive, but do you feel like it's enough?
Well,
driving 5 miles like this?
$553, that's a pretty good ticket.
It's like $100 a mile.
It is negligent driving in the second degree.
It's definitely negligent.
The charge.
Yeah. You think, if you're driving like this, should you even have a license? People get their license taken away for much less than that.
I don't know. I feel at least you have to go to court for something.
Yeah, some reason. But, the other thing we have to think about is if they were driving for over 5 miles that way, like, who was following them?
The police officer.
Well, shouldn't he have stopped him the first?
No, he wanted to see how long they could go.
Well, that feels like that's a dangerous thing to do.
It's entrapment.
Maybe. Okay. Yes, I hear somebody out there going, maybe they just know where he was and know where he left from because he told them where he left from. Okay, maybe. But if you saw this guy and then you're like, all right, let's see how far he'll go before he finally realizes. No, you got to pull him over.
I don't know.
It's dangerous for everybody out there. I know it might be, rural Washington State. There might not be a lot of other people around, but there could be deer.
Well, when we
there could be other
say,
things.
like, he made a little peephole to look, it's not even where you would think the eyes would really be.
Yeah.
It still leans way left on the windshield.
Uh-huh. It's super high,
It's
too.
super high. Like, how could this guy see? But that's what you get. You get a big ticket.
His excuse was his windshield wipers aren't working.
Because they're frozen with the snow on it.
Yeah, they're not going to work when there's like 3 inches of snow packed on top of them. There's the windshield wipers will not do anything with that snow. Not unless you clean them off first. So
well, it's a warning. If you get snow in your area, you need to, or otherwise you can get a really big ticket.
You definitely could. And people could get hurt. So clean off not just the windshield, get the top of the car too. That's important. I know a lot of people like to leave that. Got to get the top of the car too.
The words too expensive aren't in Nikki's vocabulary. This is The Riot. Radio U.
Do you recall back in 2020 when there was a TikTok, a viral trend of making like pancake batter, but then you'd make the pancakes into those little bits, the little Crispies.
The pancake cereal?
Yeah, the little, yep, and then making that into cereal.
You basically made tiny pancakes, put them in a bowl, and then that was cereal.
Tiny pancakes. And so you make them into tiny pancakes, you make them into cereal. That was in 2020. And now, here in 2022, nearly 2023, IHOP is finally like, hey, we should get in on that. We make pancakes.
We can do this.
We should do that.
But it's not little pancakes, though, is it?
Yeah, see, I was going to go through, and I think you and I might agree on this, that the headline is exciting. IHOP mini pancake cereal set to debut late in 2022, late in December 2022. It seems that by January of next year, you'll be able to just get these pretty much anywhere. So that's a great headline. But then when you look, the cereal is not shaped like pancakes.
No, they're just, they're little circle balls.
It's just looks like a cereal.
And they're blueberry and syrup one.
That's the other big miss there.
Is that wrong?
I don't want blueberry.
I know.
I don't want blueberry. It's cereal. I guess
Maybe they thought if you didn't put a flavor in, though, it'd be too much.
We'll make it maple.
Maple, yeah. Well, this has syrup.
Put out a couple different lines. Put out a strawberry one, blueberry, maple, but I don't think they put that much effort into this.
Not if it's just blueberry.
Yeah, I really disappointed in IHOP. I thought they would do better for us, and they didn't. But obviously we'll have to try them, and they will be available again. You might see them. It says they will be on some store shelves late in December of this year, so anytime now. But then pretty much nationwide in January 2023, although it is a limited time, they say. So IHOP cereal.
The blueberries only last so long.
Yeah, that's right. And they use fresh ones for this, I'm sure.
Well, they do say, let's see, how do they? Natural and artificial. So it's both blueberries.
Oh, natural pancakes.
Yeah, it's both.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't like maple syrup?
I don't like maple syrup, and I actually don't really care for blueberries too much.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah,
I'm sure,
I didn't know your thoughts on that.
I'm sure we'll still give these a whirl.
We've got to try them, but there's just the ceiling dropped way down when I found out blueberry is the only option.
I would have wanted buttermilk pancake cereal.
Buttermilk? Ooh. Chocolate chip.
Oh, that would have been good.
Cinnamon roll.
See, they missed all that.
Yeah, they could have done so many different things, and instead, blueberry.
While Isaiah is wishing for a girlfriend, Nikki and Hudson are just wishing for any friend at all. The Riot. Radio U.
Well, talking of puppies, have you guys seen this TikTok of the lady who had her dog very, like, this isn't just a standard dye job where you make, like
cute.
We've seen that, but this is intricately dyed, multicolored dye job on her. What is that? Was that a Scottish? Is it a Scotty?
It looks like it.
Is it a Scotty dog?
Something like that.
It's a white Schnauzer.
Okay, a white. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because that's what it is. She got her white Schnauzer intricately dyed so that it looks like the Grinch. So to picture it, it is bright green on the head. Then you've got white for like the Santa collar, because the Grinch makes a Santa suit for himself.
Oh, yeah. I see it now.
And then he's got red on his body, his torso, and then his his upper front paws. And then his back paws and his legs are green, are again that bright green. So it's totally accurate to the Grinch. You look at him and you know what he's supposed to be. He's the Grinch, or he's one of those candies, the red, white, and green candies. You ever had the little gummies?
I don't think we've had that.
You have never
Not
had
sure about
that?
those ones.
They're not good.
I think it's more the Grinch.
Yeah, but definitely the Grinch. And some people on TikTok are not pleased with this. They say, some people are even throwing around terms like animal abuse.
Well, anytime you see a dog that's been dyed, like their fur, a lot of people don't realize there is specific dye for dogs for pets. So they think it's cruel because they think you're using like a harder one.
Yeah.
That could hurt them, but they're not.
If you were to use some kind of human
they're not bleaching and coloring the animal's hair.
Yeah, but nevertheless, so Nikki, you're okay with it?
I tried to get my dog Rolo. I wanted to dye a mohawk on his head. And so I took him to the place and I was like, hey, go do it. But he wouldn't sit for it.
Oh, no.
So, they were like, hey, we couldn't do it. But it's all like, it won't hurt the animal.
It won't hurt him, but that doesn't mean it's right.
Well, my dog can't make right choices. So.
I get to choose for him. That's what happens when you clean up his poop. That's
right.
That's the privilege you have.
If I take care of him, then I get to decide if he gets a mohawk on him.
So, Isaiah, are you fine with this?
I'm also for it. During Halloween time, I was talking to my roommate, and I really wanted to dye Jim because half his body's like already orange. And I wanted to dye like the other half of his body like brown for the Cleveland Browns and because for Halloween time.
Yeah.
Because the other half of his body is white. And so it would have been really easy to just toss brown on him and he would look really Halloween-esque.
It sounds really easy.
Yeah, exactly. It seemed really easy, but then I looked it up online. It costs money to do that.
Does.
So as a matter of fact, I didn't do it.
Especially, I would imagine this woman, in this case, took her dog to the groomers. And so, to be clear, that is definitely dog approved to die.
It was probably $200 to
and
do
it
that.
probably costs a lot of money. But Nikki, you hit the nail on the head for why this is not right. And that is because the dog didn't ask for this. And you think the dog is having a grand time just sitting there for
Some dogs have no
hours?
problem getting groomed.
How do you know?
Some dogs
Jim
have no
loves it.
issue. Yeah, some don't.
This
They
isn't
say
just
he's great every time he
groomed, though.
goes.
This isn't just groomed.
He's just getting a little colored up.
Husband, that was its spa day, okay? It had a great day. It's me day.
Look at his face.
He looks happy.
He looks
does not
happy.
look- what
See, you
about
can't
his
tell
face looks-
if a dog looks happy or
no.
not.
He looks happy in the picture where he's still white. That's where he looks happy. His tongue's hanging out. He looks without a care in the world. And then you see him with the green and red all over him, and he's got the look on his face. Look what that person says. They said, he looking like, now, Ma, you done did it this time. That's what he's looking like. He is not
it's
pleased.
fine.
And how long is that going to last?
Oh, probably a pretty good amount of time because your dog is not showering, so it's not like washing off.
So he's going to be, April rolls around. He's still the Grinch. It's not going to be so cute.
Well, then he's a springtime dog.
I don't
He's
know.
a spring Grinch.
There's just some things, is it technically wrong? Is it actually hurting the dog physically or emotionally? Maybe not.
It depends
not
on your
that we
dog.
can prove, but it just doesn't pass the eye test to me of being something you should do to your dog. I know they put us through a lot, and I hate my dog.
What?
I hate her. She barks all the time. I can't stand it. But
hate
you know
my
what
dog.
I
You know
won't
what?
never do to her, and it
You won't
has
hurt
nothing
her?
to do with the fact that she's black, and it'd be very difficult. But I will not dye my
Listen,
dog or put clothes on her.
We're going to put your statement to the side, and we're just not going to touch the I hate her part.
Yeah, we're going to move that to the side. I dress up Jim every year for Christmas. He has a little Santa outfit. We had to throw it away last year because he doesn't fit into it anymore. But I will get him a new Santa outfit for this year.
For some, even putting a sweater on a dog could be... If the dog dislikes it so much, that almost could be animal abuse. It really just depends on your dog.
No, that's how my dog is. I just don't think it's a right thing to do. The dog didn't ask for that.
Well, he didn't say
Let
no
him be.
either.
He didn't ask me to spank him either, but sometimes you deserve it.
Okay. All right. We'll end on that.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
First, fantasy football talk. You know, Nikki, I'm sure you've been keeping track of the Radio U Fantasy Football League.
I even deleted it.
You have your own team.
I do have my own team.
And so you may realize that
where am I at?
Last night was the last night of the regular season. So starting Thursday is the fantasy football playoffs for us in the Radio U League.
Yeah.
You know where you finished?
Where did I finish?
Of course you do.
No, I told you, your wife's been running mine, and whatever's going on, she's doing fantastic.
Do you have you feel any remorse? You feel a little dishonest?
That I'm not actually running it?
Because there's so many people that signed up. Obviously, there's all of us Radio U DJs, but then there's you and ZK that people were so excited to play fantasy football against, and then ZK just didn't manage his team and from the weekends, and you handed your team off to my wife.
That's a sign of a good leader, though. I've delegated.
It is. Delegating.
So I'm proud of myself.
My wife got you to 12th place.
Yay! We'll take it.
Which is good enough to make it into the playoffs.
The very last team in the playoffs.
Yay!
And then here's what's amazing, though. You know who the 12th place team plays in the first round of the playoffs?
Whose is it?
It's me.
Hey!
It is I.
I hope Nikki and Angela beat you and knock you out of the playoffs. Nothing would make me happier than them knocking you out. And this week does not look good for you.
You think?
You're missing both your starting running backs.
What do
They're
you
both
mean?
on bye week.
I can figure that out.
Alvin Kamara.
Against the team, the
Alvin
caliber
Kamara
of Nikki.
and Cordero Patterson. Whoo!
I think I can. They haven't been doing that much for me anyways.
So then who's like the top at this point?
Number one, first place in the league, earning a bye and home field advantage throughout the playoffs is Nene.
Hey, Nene.
Nene in first place.
And if you...
Did you say he cheated during the...
There was some speculation.
There is a team called Nene cheating. Okay, you want to lay this out? We can be honest about this.
For fantasy football.
Yeah, for the Radio U fantasy. This is the listeners that signed up and then us DJs. So Nene from the afternoons, he was having a good season. He was already in first place. He's been in first place pretty much wire to wire. But we talked about ZK from the weekends. Has not been playing. He drafted a team and he's not set the lineups for most of the season. But he did crack open the fantasy app because Nene texted him and said, hey, since you're not playing, why don't you trade me some of your best players? And then maybe I'll drop them so that other people in the league that are still playing can pick them up. But why don't you trade them to me?
And that counts as cheating.
It's a lot of people would call that collusion.
A little bit of collusion there.
He did, to be fair to Nene, he did wind up dropping, I think, 2 out of the 3 guys that he received that are out for the entire season because of an injury.
Well, DK's still playing, right?
Yeah, I
they
guess
dropped
so.
DK. Zach Ertz got hurt. He dropped him as well. And so, it was a good little season. Now we're into the playoffs. They named the 1 seed.
We got to keep our own accountable, and the format of the league is you have to vote against the trade to be able to stop it from happening. And I guess not enough people voted. So Nene was able to get away with that. And he's still in first place.
Isaiah, how are you doing?
I'm in third.
Yay!
Third place. Also got a first round bye, so I'm looking pretty good going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting finish, and of course we got to give shout outs to the listeners. We did get all of the Radio U DJs made the playoffs except for ZK, but a lot of great listeners made the playoffs as well. So who knows who will wind up winning? But I feel like we've all got it out for Nene right now.
Yeah, he's got to lose.
He's the 1 seed. He's the 1 seed. We got to upset him.
Yeah, we got to take him down and teach him a lesson.
Okay, you didn't sound very threatening towards the end there.
Not at all.
You kind of lost some of that.
The Riot's X-rays just came in, and they all got that dog in them. Radio U.
So, maybe 2023, you're thinking, is your year to make a move. You got to go to a new city, start a new life, leave this one behind, and do something different. I've got the hottest cities that are predicted to be the hottest cities to move to in the new year.
Sometimes that's worrisome, though, because that means it's the most expensive.
Yeah.
That
or it'll
could be.
the
Rent's
most
going up.
expensive.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know, but maybe it's because there's a lot to love about these cities. This is according to Realtor.com's 2023 housing forecast.
Let's see where we're going to move to.
So this is where
I'm
they
excited.
predict the biggest increase in home sales in 2023.
We're finally leaving home, guys.
Yes.
Let's go.
Get out of here.
The number one city that they predict will be the biggest city for people to move to in 2023, El Paso, Texas.
Ooh.
Old El Paso.
That's a big commitment to
I know
move
a
to
lot
El
of
Paso,
people are moving to
Texas.
Texas. Like, that's a hot spot.
It is a hot spot.
It
a
is
lot
a
of my
hot
friends
spot.
have moved to like Austin and Houston
Yeah.
and stuff.
Austin and Houston are a different world than El Paso, though.
No, it's a good starter point. Maybe you start in El Paso and then you work your way up.
I don't think like El Paso is a decent sized city, right? But I don't think people realize it's out in the middle of, like, it's out West Texas, right?
It's almost in Mexico. It's like on the border, right?
Yeah. So it's not near anything.
You
it's
have to
very
start somewhere,
isolated.
Hudson.
Yeah, that's
okay.
right.
Listen, it's a hot spot.
Maybe people are moving there because they want to be isolated.
You got to make the area.
Number 2, Columbia, South Carolina,
Ooh.
on the list of hot cities to move to in 2023, according to Realtor.com. What do you make of Columbia, South Carolina?
I went to South Carolina over the summertime.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's good,
You had a nice time?
but I think it's hot during the summer.
Yeah,
it's pretty miserable.
That's a good point. The
But so would
humidity
Texas.
will be what gets you. I think Columbia, South Carolina sounds like the kind of town I might like to move to. It might be a little small. I'm more of a big city guy, but
It's like a medium-sized city.
yeah. It's and you know it's on the East Coast, so there's other cities around.
You got
too.
Charlotte pretty close to it, as well as Charleston pretty close as well.
So maybe good food probably in the
Well, number
South.
3 on the list, I'm going to say no.
Hartford, Connecticut.
I could never move to Connecticut.
Me either.
High
No
property
offense.
I'm
taxes.
against.
No offense to Connecticut, but I don't think I could ever move
No,
there.
yeah, the tag.
And I'm not going north either. That's
Yeah.
colder.
I mean, I could go north, but
couldn't.
Hartford. It's not like what are you getting excited about in Hartford? I've been to Hartford several times. It's not an exciting city. The best thing about it is for like 2 months of the year you could go to the beach.
And that's it.
That's it, and it's
The-
not even the best beach.
Next one is Buffalo, New York.
Well, that's a huge no.
Oh,
Sorry,
Big no for me as well.
I mean, I haven't been there in a few years, but when I was there, it's not pretty.
That's
And I saw the snowstorm like 2 weeks ago. I'm good on that as
it's
well.
all the negatives of Connecticut plus no beach.
Plus no beach.
Number 5 on the list of hottest cities to move to in 2023, according to Realtor.com's housing forecast. They say number 5, Little Rock, Arkansas.
I've never been there.
I had a
Me
friend,
either.
I have a friend that was considering he might move to Memphis, but he had to like fly out of Little Rock, and he says
No.
Arkansas is a big no.
Okay. It's
Arkansas
no list.
is a definite no.
Well,
for
the rest
him.
of the list is Louisville, Kentucky, Baltimore, Maryland, Omaha, Nebraska, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio.
There it is.
Yeah, that's a big one. Some of those cities near the bottom feel a little crimey, don't you think?
Like Baltimore? You mean?
Baltimore, Harrisburg, Columbus.
Shh, they don't want you to focus on that. You're
That's not important.
Listen, you're not doing this list right,
Is
all
this
right?
the
Yeah,
top
you're not
cities for
moving worried about
criminals to
that.
move to in 2023?
They deserve a new start, too.
I guess
Yeah.
so. That's right.
So that's the list of the top places they say a lot of people will be moving to next year.
Hey, they're already eating anyways. Might as well do it on the show. The Riot with Nikki and Hudson. Radio U.
Talked a week or two back about the word of the year according to Merriam-Webster, the dictionary people. Remember how they said that gaslight is the word of the year. At least that's what they want us to think.
They should have announced the word of the year and then left us.
Yeah, that's right.
And never talked about it again.
So that was their word of the year. They had their finger on the pulse there. But there's competing schools of thought in the dictionary world. Did you know Oxford University Press as in Oxford in the UK? They do their own dictionary too.
Yeah.
And so they've put out.
Say yeah.
I know that there's an Oxford dictionary. That's a well-known thing.
It is. It is a well-known thing.
Heard your tone.
I know. Yes, I'm very familiar.
I believe.
Was reading it yesterday. I usually lean Oxford.
His wide vocabulary. Of course, Isaiah would be familiar with the Oxford English Dictionary. So they put out their own word of the year. And first of all, they've totally failed because it's 2 words. Goblin mode.
I have never heard that term.
You haven't?
I haven't.
All in your TikToking? You never see anybody say, I'm going goblin mode?
If I have,
I'm a goblin.
I've just heard goblin, but not like goblin mode.
Not like turkey goblin, though.
No.
Like goblin.
More
like,
similar to like
ogre.
Demon mode, gremlin mode, goblin mode. They're all
like,
the same.
Like an orc, like something from World of Warcraft or Lord of the Rings or whatever. Goblin mode is, so you don't know what goblin mode is?
Well, I do know now.
You know now.
Self-indulgent and lazy.
Yeah. Unapologetically. Slovenly behavior. Yeah. You guys ever, now that you know the term, you think you ever go goblin mode?
Have I ever indulged in the goblin mode? I think everybody has a little bit.
I think.
Why don't you ask us that in a couple of weeks at Christmas time?
Yeah. But you don't just, if it's the word of the year, that means people are doing it all year round, right?
Oh, yeah. I'd say so. It's all over TikTok.
They say if you reject social norms or expectations, so basically you just don't care what people think but not in like you go like, great, you don't care.
No, bad. This is bad.
This is the other way.
Of just like totally just, what do they even say? Reclusive behavior?
I would say like ignorant behavior would be a good way to describe it. If you're doing things that are very ignorant, I would describe that as goblin mode.
Can you give an
example?
Oh, an example of a time that you would be in goblin mode?
Tell us of a time that you went goblin
I don't know if I've ever been goblin mode.
You've never goblined.
Not that I'm willing to share on the show. I'd maybe look bad, I think. I think any time that you're disrespectful towards someone, that could be considered goblin mode if it benefits you in some sort of way.
Like say you had a big class project and it was you and 3 others and you didn't do anything.
But then when time comes around to take credit, you take all the credit. That would be me going all goblin
so
mode.
Like you're totally lazy about the work you're supposed to do. You've got other people that are out filling in and you're just being a goblin about it. You're not ghosting them because, you're around, but you just don't do it.
All right, so out of the 3 of us,
it would be a goblin?
Who's the most goblin?
Why is everybody looking over in this direction?
I'm waiting for you to answer.
Are we taking votes?
Yeah.
I think I would probably lean myself.
Okay. That's
if I had to guess.
That's very reflective.
Who would you say?
I was also thinking myself.
Oh, you were thinking you too?
Yeah.
And then I guess the tiebreaker, because we all know Nikki's not going to be like
not
me.
a goblin.
I'm not a goblin.
There's nothing goblin about you.
Yeah, Nikki. Choose.
Who's the greedier, more self-indulgent, lazier,
ignorant?
I think it's you, Isaiah.
Okay. All right. Well, this was a fun segment.
What do you mean? Nikki agreed with you.
I know. I should have voted for you. Is what I should have done.
Yeah.
That was a.
Well, maybe we should ask, who do you guys think would be the goblin out of everybody?
8772 Radio U.
You can text Hudson or Isaiah.
Nikki's not an available answer.
No.
I'm not even in the running at this
We're
point.
all in agreement on that.
The Riot with Hudson and Nikki on Radio U.
We visited Santa's Bake Shop, a.k.a. Krispy Kreme, And we have found their Christmas collection of donuts.
So a few weeks ago, you guys did the Thanksgiving mini pies.
Yes.
That Krispy Kreme did. Did you end up liking those? Or
Yeah.
You did?
I liked
I think
those.
they were solid.
They're
Do you
pretty
remember
good?
which one our favorite was?
I think my favorite was the apple pie, and your favorite was the pumpkin pie, I think.
I'll take your word for it.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
It didn't make that strong of an impression in my mind.
I feel like we were more excited for the Santa's Bake Shop collection because that's a holiday sugar cookie donut, a gingerbread cookie crumb, and a red velvet. And then they've got two other older ones that they've had.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm more excited because we actually got all of the new ones, which we weren't so fortunate when we had the Thanksgiving pie donuts.
Isaiah had to go in.
Did you see what their website says? It says some shops are experiencing delays receiving the recipes and ingredients from Mrs. Claus for our Santa's Bake Shop collection. Fortunately, ours wasn't one of them.
That was good. So which one do we want to try first?
I was thinking we could do the Santa. We have the Santa Belly one, right? We could use that as a control donut.
But that one we've had before.
I know, so that's like the baseline. We try that first, and then we use the other three to see how they stack up against the old standby.
Santa Belly is basically a cream-filled donut dipped in red icing, decorated like Santa's belly with a belt. So pretty normal. Yeah.
I'm pretty good. That's a good baseline.
There's never enough talking during the donut food fights. All right. Well, that was fine.
I forgot how good that stand. It's not an exciting donut.
Just a
but
standard
it's just good. That's just all you need right there.
Well, which one do you want to do next?
Go ahead and pick.
I say we do the red velvet cake.
Red velvet?
Because this one seems kind of hard.
So the red velvet, it's a cake donut. It's got cream cheese icing and red velvet cake crumbles on top.
I feel like at least the little section I cut for myself, the icing is lacking.
That one's good though. Oh, I think you'll like that. The cream cheese icing's good.
It is good.
Does it scream Christmas? I don't know. But does it scream good? Yeah, that's
But
pretty
I
good.
do love red velvet.
That's good.
That's a good red velvet.
It's a little dense for my taste.
If it didn't have the cream on top, I think it'd be really
it'd be dry.
real dry. And
all right. Speaking of dry,
okay,
I need some water.
All right, the last two are the holiday sugar cookie donuts and the gingerbread cookie crumbs.
You want to do gingerbread next?
That works for me.
Gingerbread it is.
So the gingerbread one, I was kind of sad about. I thought it was what's the other one that Duncan did? Cookie butter.
Cookie batter.
Yeah, like it looks more like cookie pieces, and gingerbread's not necessarily our favorite.
No.
But it's got a gingerbread cream cheese flavored filling, dipped and topped with gingerbread cookies.
This one's the most aesthetically pleasing. When you look at it, it looks the coolest. Has a lot on top.
But it's gingerbread.
And it feels like it has more going on with it too.
I don't know, guys. That's gingerbread. I'll let you.
That one's messy.
I'll let you decide on
that's
that.
Cream cheesy.
It's gingerbread cream cheese.
That's pretty good.
Oh no, I don't think so.
I don't know how much I like that one.
Yeah, especially if you had more than just a bite, I think we'd like
I need
it
another
less.
bite for good measure.
I'll take more. Yeah.
I'm not so sure about the filling. I don't know where I stand on that. That's an odd one.
I think gingerbread's kind of our bottom holiday flavor.
That's not my favorite.
Right there with eggnog.
Yeah.
That one, it beat my expectations.
That one's the prettiest looking.
It is.
But that one, we have to just say, if you don't like gingerbread, I don't think you're going to care for that. Or if you don't like cream cheese stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very cream cheese. All right.
Last one.
Sugar cookie.
This one's going to be my favorite.
This one's an original glazed iced sugar cookie flavored icing and festive sugar sprinkles for the Santa's collection from Krispy Kreme.
Now, before I dive in, this does feel like it just could taste like a regular sprinkled donut.
Which is my favorite donut.
Tastes just like a sprinkled donut. You're going to love it. Yeah, just a normal one.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, you know what?
What? You hear the sprinkles?
Yeah, you can hear them crunching, can't you?
Those are crunchy.
That's just sugar just crunching in my mouth. That actually does have a uniquely sugar cookie taste to it.
Tastes like a sugar cookie.
Yeah. All right. I guess we got to rate and rank these things. Huh?
What do you think? What's top?
This is tough.
They're all solid.
Yeah, they're all pretty good.
I even appreciate the gingerbread one. I don't hate any of them. The lowest score I could give any is I just can't imagine going below a 3.75, and that'd be for the red velvet.
Oh, that's your bottom one?
Yeah, it's just too heavy for me. And maybe not sugary enough. So then from there, that's 3.75 out of 5. Then I'll do, I think the gingerbread. That's a solid 4. I still enjoyed it. I would still consider that, or I'd be happy to pull that out of the box if those are still sitting around tomorrow or something. Then I will put the sugar cookie
on top.
Well, I'm putting Santa's belly on top.
Oh,
I actually like that one the best.
That's your favorite.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just such a solid donut. It's just all you need, the Santa's belly. That's like a 4.75 and the sugar cookie 4.5.
All right, Isaiah, what do you got?
I've got red velvet at the bottom. That's going to be like a 3.5. I just am not a fan of cake donuts, but I do like the red velvet one. If it's a normal cake donut, it's definitely going to be lower. So that's a high rating for a cake donut for me. The gingerbread, wasn't much of a fan of that either. That would be like a 3.7. Santa's belly, probably like a 3.9. And then the sugar cookie, which is like my favorite kind of donut, is probably like a 4.3.
That one's top.
Real good donut.
I'm just going to rank them, but I'm just putting gingerbread on the bottom, red velvet, and then holiday sugar cookie on top.
And where Santa's belly fit in.
That one's just in there. I mean,
it's just in the mix.
It's in the mix. It's there, but for the holiday new ones, that's the listing.
All right. Well, I think we have a lot of agreement here that this was a good food fight all around.
It was good. Good donuts.
Hey, I know. It's an agreement. It's going to be a great rest of the morning, too.
Yeah, it is.
Because everybody's going to eat those.
Hudson and Isaiah seem like they know a lot about sports, yet somehow it's Nikki that always gets it right. The Riot, Radio U.
Have you guys, either of you, been to the Grand Canyon?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
You've
Yep.
both been?
Yeah. Mhm.
What'd you guys do there?
I took a train to go to the Grand Canyon.
Uh-huh.
And then we got off
And that
the
was
train.
half the fun?
And then your mom yells at you to don't fall over.
Yep.
You see how beautiful it is, and then you get back on the train.
How long did that take?
I think it was a couple hours.
How much of it did you enjoy?
I don't know. I think I was probably young enough. No, wait, I was older. I enjoyed it. It was pretty.
You did? You enjoyed the
It's
train or the Grand Canyon?
Both. I think I actually enjoyed the train more.
Whoa.
That was cool.
What about you?
I like the Grand Canyon. I've been, I think, twice, maybe 3 times. I think either 2 or 3 times that I've been in the Grand Canyon. I think it's pretty awesome. I think it's pretty epic every time you go. There's nothing really to describe it. Like, if you've never been there, you can't really comprehend how amazing it is. I think it's pretty darn cool. And I went when I was probably 8 and 16 years old, probably. And both times I thought it was pretty awesome, and I was pretty young at the time.
I think I'd like to. I've never been to the Grand Canyon. I think I would like to go one time, but I feel like I know it's majesty, but it's not even there's nothing else around the Grand Canyon, right? So you go one time, you see it, you appreciate it, and then that's it. But my problem with it is that it's in Arizona, so I may never see it. But I didn't know this about the Grand Canyon. Did you guys know you're not supposed to, and I'm sorry if you already did this, you're not supposed to hit golf balls into the Grand Canyon?
Well, since you haven't been there, you didn't know this. But basically, when you go to the Grand Canyon, you can barely do anything. Because of the rules. The rules.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You have to, follow the rules when you're there, and there's a lot of them.
And one of them, do they have it posted? You guys see the sign, don't hit golf balls into the Grand Canyon?
I'm sure there's signs everywhere of don't throw things in the canyon.
Yeah.
It seems pretty self-explanatory, don't toss stuff down there, but people just like to use it as a landfill apparently and hit golf balls into it.
See, if I went to the Grand Canyon, I think that's the number one thing I would want to do is throw something into it.
Yeah, that's why there's signs.
Yeah,
You're not
say
supposed
don't
to.
do
What's
that.
the fun? They took away like the funnest thing you could do there.
It's
What
not
do you
a trash-
mean?
It's not a trash dump.
There's people walking
Golf
down
balls
there.
aren't yeah, so they'll be like, ooh, a golf ball.
No, they're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm dead. I just got hit in the head with a golf ball."
You're not supposed to.
Just give them helmets or something.
Nope.
Seems like kind of defeats the purpose of the awesome tour.
Maybe you shouldn't go to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, it sounds like you aren't responsible enough to handle it.
I don't want to, and they don't want me. Until the Grand Canyon, until the borders are redrawn and it's moved out of Arizona, I will not be going. But now I don't want to go either because I can't. I learned that you can't. You guys are telling me you can't throw anything.
No.
I thought it was just golf balls. Because I don't know if you guys.
Of course you can't. What do you mean?
Are you familiar with Katie Sigmund from TikTok?
No.
I looked her up though.
She has like 6.9 million followers. And she was under the impression that you could hit golf balls into the Grand Canyon. She's like a golf. I think she actually plays golf. Like she wouldn't be like me and just grab a club and some balls and hardly ever hit them before. I think she actually does golf, so that's why she was doing this. But she was hitting golf balls into the Grand Canyon, and she took it an extra mile too. She threw a club into the Grand Canyon.
Uh-oh.
You don't want to do that.
Probably killed a small animal in the act.
Probably.
Well, you could also, crack part of the canyon.
Yeah.
You don't want to start some sort of horrible.
Hasn't it been there for like thousands of years?
I know. It's
we want to take care of it.
It's so fragile that it can be thrown into danger by a golf club.
Hey, you know what? A lot of golf clubs over the years, 100 years from now, no more Grand Canyon. How do we like that?
Yeah,
Not so much.
Good point. So she was, obviously she posted about it and everything. She got hit with a fine, 285 smackers.
Oh, that was the ticket for it?
Yeah. Her golf club probably cost more than that.
That was littering and creating hazardous conditions and disorderly conduct.
Man, I don't know. The more you guys tell me I shouldn't throw things in the Grand Canyon, the more I want to.
It's there to go look at it. It's beautiful, but you're not supposed to throw trash in it.
I'm not. Who said anything about trash?
What are you throwing in it?
You're not using as trash.
How about this? This is perfect. One of the things I love to throw. Apples.
Apples?
Yeah.
No, because then they're like, hey, that's an invasive species of an apple tree. It's not supposed to grow
a creature's going to eat it. So some donkey or whatever that's down there, and it's going to get some food off of, out of the deal.
There's people walking down there.
It's
still.
a big canyon. What are the odds?
But that's not what it's about, you know? If everybody does it every day, at some point somebody's going to get hit and die.
How about this? How about we have...
Do you want to die from an apple?
Yeah.
It's a big canyon, okay?
You want a designated throwing area?
Yes,
We're not doing that.
there should be a throwing area where you
not
can
a
throw
throwing area.
biodegradable materials in to see how far you can throw them.
It's cool enough just to see it as is.
I don't
you
think
don't
it
have
is.
To, yes, it's like one of the most amazing things you can see on the entire planet. It might be the most amazing thing on the entire planet.
I thought you were old enough to be mature enough to handle a trip to the Grand Canyon.
Appreciate the Grand Canyon.
We're turning the car back around and we're going home.
I'm going to somewhere I'm allowed to throw stuff.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The worst of the riot. Radio U.
I have here information about an interesting course that you could take if you went to the University of California, Berkeley, Cal University. They are offering, or I think they did this fall semester, a course called Difficult Conversations Conflict Lab.
Ooh.
And it's all about teaching people, I guess you could guess from the name, that have difficult conversations. A lot of people just like to avoid them, but they want to teach people how to navigate giving bad news or like office politics or
breaking up with someone.
Oh, that's a good one.
How do you do it the right way?
Or firing somebody.
Oh, wow.
Or getting fired.
Now we're talking.
So you could think that having a difficult conversation, it could be an art that you could actually learn how to do it properly.
There is, I think there's like two types of people. There's people that need to take this course, and there's people that are heartless and
who can already do it.
that are teaching the course, I guess. So which one are you guys? You think you would benefit from learning how to fire somebody or break up with somebody? You think that would be helpful to you?
I don't know.
Admit it.
For me personally, I think I'm good.
You think you could fire somebody?
I think that I can fire somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to? You know how they taught the classes basically like they just got people to role play from both sides of the scenario.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do you want us to role play?
You want to fire me?
I'd love to fire you.
All
You can
right.
meet me in my office in an hour from now. Nikki, this is aligning perfectly.
Yeah. Okay, you're doing a great job, all right?
Keep it up.
But
I'll
don't
keep
really
it up.
fire him.
Well, we'll see.
No, I was. I think I need to take this class.
You think so?
I think you do too.
I've been wanting to fire Isaiah for a long time, and I just haven't had the heart.
Well, I think it depends on how they're teaching you. Like, are you actually going to be able to fire someone in a kind way? Because you can fire someone, but you could also be humane, like nice about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's different.
They, the way they describe it, it does sound like they're trying to be, they want you to have a heart when you're doing this because
you don't want to crush the person.
Yeah.
Even more than they already are being crushed.
The leaders of the course say you're supposed to ask, what is your objective when you're going into a conversation? Is it to make the person feel heard, to problem solve, or to share your own needs? And how effective were you or will you be at achieving that objective? So if you're going in to break up with somebody or whatever, like are you problem solving? Are you sharing your own needs? Like, I don't know. Like, how do you navigate? I don't even know what is your goal supposed to be there besides breaking up with them?
They say the students have said the course is amazing and that they now have developed skills to feel confident, especially in the workplace where you might face an issue, not just firing somebody, but even correcting someone, that they can now handle it in a more effective way.
I think that maybe just the idea of going in and doing this just so that you have some, even if there's not a right way to do it, even though they seem to suggest that there is, it's not something that most of us have a lot of experience with.
No.
So you don't get a chance to practice firing somebody or breaking up with somebody until you actually have to do it. And then when you actually have to do it, it's still way different from if you practice at this thing.
Well, they say the role playing is helpful.
Yeah. I just hope this doesn't lead to a whole bunch of
firings.
Right.
Over and
All
over
of a
again.
sudden.
Now that everybody can do it, they're like, well, we might as well use this new power we've garnered.
Just remember, if anybody wants to meet with you late on a Friday, that's it.
You're done.
You're done.
It's over.
Yeah, that's the part of firing I'm good with.
And everybody else is magically gone when the time comes.
You just heard the worst of the worst. We'd give you the best of the best, but we'd have to find that. As soon as we do, you'll be the first to know.
Audio Jungle.